3 weeks, but the Patriots thought the rematch would never come, for the bitter taste remains. Drew Bledsoe has put that shocking interception behind him, now setting his sights on a return to the Super Bowl. And thanks to a ferocious defense led by linebackers Ted Johnson and Chris Slade, the Patriots have blitzed their way to the AFC East title and a wild card victory. But today they face the rabid Pittsburgh fans with their terrible towels, and a Steeler team that bears the stamp of young quarterback Kordell Stewart, plus a bruising ground attack built around the bus, relentless Jerome Bettis, and a potent defense led by the versatile Carnell Lake. It's a battle between the last two teams to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, each with the thirst to return. From Three Rivers Stadium, the divisional playoffs, the Patriots and the Steelers. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pittsburgh. Tom Hammond and Randy Cross. This game not only a rematch of that overtime thriller 3 weeks ago, but also of a divisional playoff game 1 year ago in the fog at New England. And from the Pittsburgh standpoint, what a difference a year makes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers were really in a fog last year, especially on offense. You look at their star players from this year, Kordell Stewart, Jerome Bettis, Yancey Thigpen, and what they did in that game. You're going to see a whole different kind of offense out of the Pittsburgh Steelers today in this football game, and especially, I think, in Jerome Bettis. I don't know if there's ever been a better marriage of a running back and a city than Jerome Bettis and the city of Pittsburgh. These people love this guy. They love his style, and New England knows all about him because they've been very successful in stopping Bettis, mainly because they blitz the run and they gang tackle the guy.
With some time off, all the Pittsburgh players were raving about the bounce in the bus this week. But the New England defense, which has been so dominant in recent weeks, actually has done a good job of stopping Jerome Bettis.
Well, they have, because they have blitz. They've blitzed the pass and they blitzed the run. But importantly, they're stopping Jerome Bettis for the New England Patriots. They do that, then they can spin everything else off.
New England running back Curtis Martin again will not play, missing the 5th straight game. That's more pressure on Drew Bledsoe and the passing game. The winner today moves one step closer to that return to the Super Bowl. It's the Patriots and the Steelers when we return to Three Rivers Stadium. Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium, where the Patriots have won the toss and will receive. Unseasonably warm 53-degree day here at Three Rivers Stadium, where the Steelers have won 21 of their last 23 games, 3 of those in the postseason. Norm Johnson ready to kick off for the Steelers with Canty and Colors, the deep men for New England. Colors had an 86-yard kickoff return for a touchdown earlier this season. And this divisional playoff game underway. Short kick taken by Canty. Chris Canty crosses the 30 to the 33-yard line. 14-yard return of the opening kick, the stop by Myron Bell. And now Drew Bledsoe and the New England offense onto the field. Bledsoe's going back to the Pro Bowl. So is his tight end Ben Coates, the top receiver for the Patriots. As you see, Terry Glenn, a big deep threat, back in the lineup after missing several games with injury. Bruce Armstrong headed to the Pro Bowl. Lane, Wallabaugh, Rucci, and Moss also up front for the Patriots.
Tom, Drew's favorite receiver, Ben Coates, is playing this game with a cast on his right thumb. This is going to be a factor in this kind of a short passing game.
That's Coates in motion, and the give to Derek Colors. Colors getting the start in place of the injured Curtis Martin. Here's the defense for the Steelers. One of the few teams remaining that play 3 up front, including Joel Steed, who's had a tremendous season, headed to the Pro Bowl. Kevin Henry, of course, the Bledsoe nemesis. Levon Kirkland, leading tackler for the Steelers, going to the Pro Bowl. And Carnell Lake, he'll be all over the field today. You have to locate him. You have to know where he is. He's not only a strong hitter, the former linebacker, but is an excellent cover man, the Steelers' best. Second down play, Bledsoe's first pass. And he zips it complete to midfield. Terry Glenn with the catch. Gain of 13 yards. Dante Jones, the linebacker, assigned to cover Terry Glenn, and that won't work.
Well, you know what's happening here early is Pete Carroll's offense is spreading them out. Look, you got motion with Coach. You're spreading your receivers out, and you only have 3 or 4 inside that little box. You're not worried too much about blitz. That's going to force some man matchups, and Drew Bledsoe takes advantage.
From midfield, first down, New England. Bledsoe on a first down pass. He's going deep for Glenn down the sideline, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Chad Scott. Scott back to the 20, cuts to the center of the field, and is stopped short of the 40-yard line by Ben Coates. 27 yards on the return by Scott. Bledsoe had Glenn behind the defense and underthrew him.
Just way too much air under this ball, and Drew Bledsoe said, I'm going deep early. I'm going to take my shots. And he takes his shots on the same guy he tried it on last time, but Terry Glenn gets too deep. The ball is too short, and watch the rookie, Chad Scott, the only man in that shot that actually has an idea where that football is. Good play by the young guy, and then a nice return to back it up.
So now in postseason play, Drew Bledsoe has tossed 11 interceptions, 5 touchdowns. Kordell Stewart under center for the Steelers after the turnover. New England shows blitz. Here's Jerome Bettis. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Good job. It's Henry Thomas and Mark Wheeler up front for New England. Kordell Stewart with Jerome Bettis headed back to the Pro Bowl, and Yancey Thigpen, top receiver for the Steelers, had 79 catches during the regular season. Excellent offensive line. Jackson, Wolford, Dawson, Stye, and Strelzik. Dermontti Dawson, maybe the best offensive lineman in all of football, certainly the best center. Kordell Stewart, a notorious slow starter for the Steelers, sends Johnson in motion. Play action fake. Stewart with plenty of time. And he throws it too high for Charles Johnson and incomplete. Ty Law was covering for the Patriots. New England's defense will line up in this fashion. Front four consisting of Sullivan, Wheeler, Thomas, and McGinnis. They can put pressure on the passer. And the very active linebackers, Slade, who's headed to the Pro Bowl, Johnson and Collins, and then in the secondary, 2 Pittsburgh area natives, Ty Law and Willie Clay.
Yeah, Tom, for all the talk of blitz before this football game, both defenses coming out kind of touchy-feely, going with a real base look and zones.
Stewart in the shotgun on 3rd and long.
Here's a blitz look.
Steelers pick it up, and Stewart finds his man, Johnson, for a first down. About a 12-yard gain in front of Lawyer Malloy. So Kordell Stewart, who replaced Mike Tomczak at New England in the playoffs last year and was 0 for 10, now connects on his second pass of this game.
Hey, you know, the job that Kordell Stewart does here is recognizing the blitz. Watch what the blitzers do right here and how they react once the ball is snapped. The hesitation, then a blitz around the other side. Kordell stands in there. Good pickup by the offensive line, but you know, this guy from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, Kordell Stewart is a totally different quarterback.
This is part of his dream come true. All the time people said he was just an athlete. He wanted to show he could play quarterback. He hands it off to Bettis, and Bettis stopped for no gain by Thomas and Johnson. People said that you could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver. You're an athlete, but you're not a quarterback. He said, I knew I could bring all those different skills to the quarterback spot, and he has proven to be correct. Let's log on to the Stewart file.
Well, this is all this guy's done this year. Look at all he's done. Passing touchdowns, the rushing touchdowns. He's such a threat. The only part of his game he's got to improve is early in the game, and right now he's off to a good early start.
Blitz comes. Stewart reads it, but misconnects with Yancey Thigpen. And the pass falls incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd and long.
This is exactly what we're talking about, what Kordell Stewart's done first half to second half. But, you know, this is a guy that has started slow, and it's scary to think, as good as he is in the second half, when he really gets his feet under him as a quarterback, how good he's going to be when he improves those first half numbers, because completion percentage is down. But if you had one thing you had to say, hey, look, what's the chink in his armor right now? It's the interceptions. He tends to make mistakes early in the game and set up other teams for opportunities.
Bill Cowher says, though, he does seem to learn from the early play and really adjust his game. That's why he gets much better. And here he is right on target to Johnson at the first down marker. Spot of the football will be enough, I think, for the first down. So the 2 former Colorado Buffaloes, Charles Johnson and Kordell Stewart, hooking up here early for 2 consecutive 3rd down conversions.
Hey, Kordell told us yesterday, you know, I haven't been this comfortable in an offense since back at my days at the University of Colorado. This offense reminds me exactly of that offense. And right now, that's exactly what he's doing. They're saying, look, we're going to take away Bettis. You've got to beat us throwing. And right now, Kordell Stewart is saying that's just fine with me.
He's converted 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 10, both to Johnson. Bettis. No blocking at all as New England continues to make the going rough for the bus. He is more like a van when he plays New England. He just has not been his usual self. Chris Slade and Russ were first to get there for New England.
Well, watch up front for the New England Patriots. Everybody's got the gap. And Jerome Bettis, very importantly, does not have his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. If you can get him spinning out sideways, you can stop him like they have here. They've been very effective at making Jerome Bettis go outside the tackle and the tight end and try to be a scat back, and that is not a scat back.
3 rushes for 2 yards. This time fake to Bettis. Stewart rolls, gets a block, and is still down the sideline. Stewart! Touchdown! Rushing touchdown, number 12 on the season for Kordell Stewart, a 40-yard sideline scamper.
And they got the entire Kordell Stewart package on that drive.
Norm Johnson for the extra point, boots it through. Steelers get a turnover and turn it into 7 thanks to Kordell Stewart getting to the outside, 40 yards into the end zone, capping an 8-play, 62-yard drive.
On NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By UPS, the official package delivery company of the NFL. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more.
7-0 at Three Rivers Stadium as the Steelers intercept Drew Bledsoe, march down the field, and Kordell Stewart gets it into the end zone. No slow start for Kordell today. Norm Johnson's kick. Here's Chris Canty. Canty taking it to the other side of the field, now cut straight up. He's got a couple of blockers and finally knocked down at the 37-yard line. 22-yard return. Another good return by Canty.
Well, the fatal mistake the New England defense makes here is they treat Kordell Stewart like a normal quarterback. And when a normal quarterback boots out and gets towards the perimeter, you sort of relax. Gets a good block right there by Bruner, but look at the relaxation. Todd Collins doesn't try to tackle him. Lawyer Malloy lightens up. But the thing that opens the corner is watch Bruner right here, 87, on Hitchcock. Right in the side, perfectly legal. Little tap dance, and 6 points. That's relaxing as a defense, and it just cost you a touchdown.
Steelers' longest rushing touchdown in postseason history. Bledsoe's first down pass incomplete, intended for Glenn. He has gone exclusively to Glenn here early, and the interception was when he underthrew his wide receiver.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's born out of the fact that they're not really quite sure how much of Terry Glenn they're going to get. In the past, he's come in and he's played, and he's been blazing down the field, and then he's tweaked a little bit, and then he's out. So they want to go to him, get as much out of him early as they can, just in case he isn't there in a little while.
It's a hamstring injury for Glenn, which is a fragile thing. Byers in motion, and a false start. Zephros Moss, it appeared, will cost the Patriots 5 yards.
False start prior to the snap. Offense number 77. 5 yards. Still second down.
Walt Coleman is today's referee.
And Tom, it also cost the Patriots something I think very important, and that's they're involving this crowd. You got that big Kordell Stewart run, and this crowd almost becomes like a living thing when you're playing at Three Rivers Stadium. And Pete Carroll knows the best way to really be effective here is to get these flag-waving nuts out of the game. And right now, the nuts are in this game big time here at Three Rivers.
3 wide receiver set. Troy Brown joining Glenn and Jefferson. Short drop, Bledsoe. Just to the 35 where Glenn makes the catch. Ran out of bounds by Myron Bell.
You know, Pittsburgh's doing a nice job of attacking Drew Bledsoe too. We talked earlier in the game at the beginning about how Bill Cowher's defense loves to blitz, but what they do behind it is what's critical. Right now they're giving Drew Bledsoe those blitz looks, but they're giving him zones behind. So Pete Carroll has to be very concerned, along with his staff, that Drew keeps reading this correctly and doesn't throw off to a hot receiver right into the middle of a zone.
Bledsoe said, playing against Pittsburgh, you usually can read what they're going to do before the snap. Stood in the pocket, and Coates made a one-handed stab, and that's a function of that cast on his thumb, the injured right thumb, as Coates didn't even put up his right hand. He just made a stab with a left hand, and it's incomplete.
And Ben Coates has got to be involved in this football game at this pace, or the Patriots are in trouble. See him working against Oldham right there, physically beating on him, but Drew Bledsoe throws that thing behind him.
Right.
I think Coates can make a little bit better effort to catch it if he gets it closer to him.
Tom Tupa, low line drive for Will Blackwell. Lets it bounce, and it does take a New England bounce. 38-yard punt thanks to the roll, but Bledsoe and the Patriots down 7.
On NBC.
Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium. Third member of our broadcast crew today had a touchdown reception in 5 consecutive playoff games. Second all-time only to former Steeler John Stallworth. Let's join James Lofton.
I didn't know that fact, Tom, but winning football games is all about balance. The New England Patriots do not have Curtis Martin, but a guy they're not using so far is Shawn Jefferson, and he was the leading wide receiver during the season. And he said he's concerned that when Terry Glenn comes back, they'll just forget about me, and so far they've just forgotten about him.
You're right, James. Absolutely. Every pass, with the exception of the last one, which was aimed at Ben Coates, has gone Terry Glenn's way. And Shawn Jefferson, at least so far, has been indeed the forgotten man.
Yeah, I think part of that too is the fact that Drew Bledsoe wants to get as much out of Terry Glenn as he can with that hamstring. There's no telling how long that hamstring's going to last.
Jerome Bettis got just a yard on first down, and with 8 minutes left in the opening quarter, the Steelers have a 2nd and 9. Quarterback draw. Kordell Stewart caught by Willie McGinnis from behind, as they didn't fool the New England defense that time.
Well, that's a smart job by the New England defense of just giving him basically a regular look. But watch what happens on the outside with just a quick come around the corner. When you've got a motion back, you've got a tight end, and then you get confusion by the offensive line up front, because Justin Strelzik, number 73, the right tackle, should be coming out and trying to get a block on Willie McGinnis, but it was kind of an air ball.
Well, on the Steelers' touchdown drive, they were able to convert 3rd and long on 2 occasions. And they're facing a 3rd and 9. From the gun, Stewart down the sideline. Johnson jostling with the defender, Jimmy Hitchcock.
Jostling, he pushed him down.
And once again, he looks, does Kordell Stewart, for Charles Johnson. This one, though, incomplete.
I mean, when you get out on the perimeter, you get an all-out blitz by the New England Patriots. That means pure man, and Hitchcock is just maintaining his position and getting urged to move from the back by Charles Johnson.
Strong urging. Josh Miller for the first Pittsburgh punt of the game. David Meggett, the deep man for New England. Meggett has been a little gimpy, but is well enough to return punts. Not a good one off the foot of Josh Miller, but does take a fortuitous bounce for the Steelers and will be marked out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. It covered 43 yards. Steelers up 7 on the Pats. 6:58 left, first quarter. Pittsburgh intercepted a Drew Bledsoe pass and then marched down the field. Kordell Stewart, a 40-yard touchdown run, the longest Steeler rushing touchdown in postseason history. Colors. A tough 3 yards to the 30. Tackled by Nolan Harrison and Earl Holmes. Well, for the New England Patriots, it's been sort of a tale of 3 seasons.
Well, it has, but you look at the bottom of the last 6 games, and, you know, the loss is Pittsburgh there, but this has been all about the defense. They haven't had Martin. They haven't had Glenn. Drew Bledsoe's been throwing shorter passes, and this defense has carried this football team to the divisional playoff.
Of course, New England, you're used to 4 seasons every year. They're hoping there is a 4th season. That would be the postseason. Derek Cullors, stopped by Kevin Henry. The NFL postseason extends to the World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. Chiefs' Marcus Allen's in the spotlight. Will he lead his team to the Super Bowl in his hometown of San Diego? Plus, check out all the history, hoopla, and happenings surrounding the biggest day in sports, Super Sunday, on the Destination San Diego page, all at NFL.com. Ben Coates in the slot, bottom of the screen, and a 4-wide receiver set. Bledsoe from the gun. Across the middle and knocked down, intended for Troy Brown. And good defense by Chad Scott, who already has an interception today. The rookie from Maryland up to the task.
Well, it's really a good job by Pittsburgh of kind of getting into Drew Bledsoe's head, because Drew Bledsoe is looking at it what basically was a 9-man front. He's thinking blitz. They drop off, only bring 4 guys, and you get tight coverage by the rookie Scott, and Bledsoe really had nowhere else to go.
Tom Tupa will punt. Low snap, picks it up and sends it on his way. This is a good one. Blackwell has to retreat all the way to the 13-yard line. And finally knocked down at the 27 with a penalty marker on the play. 13-yard return after a 53-yard kick. And we'll check the penalty flag. Against the Steelers.
These are the little things, the little penalties when you get in a field position game like this, that if you're Bill Cowher, you know puts you in a further hole. When you're getting a 7-0 game with good defenses.
Holding on the return team during the kick, half the distance, first down.
And that changes your game plan. It changes the plays you can call on offense.
7-0 Steeler lead. They'll have the ball when we return.
AT&T, it's all within your reach, presents the Stat Pack.
The front line of the Oakland Raiders would weigh 39,800 pounds on Saturn.
A Hail Mary pass thrown at 0 gravity above the Earth's surface would venture out of our solar system in 849 years.
Well, the coldest day on Lambeau Field is still like 242 degrees warmer than the average day on Pluto.
This game, it just boggles the mind.
Yeah. The AT&T One Rate plan has made long-distance prices simple. Whoa. Calls from home, a one low rate to anybody in America anytime.
What about those 10-3-2-1 ads that say I could save big over AT&T?
Most calls would cost less with AT&T One Rate.
Cost less?
Right.
Oh, I feel so used.
Hey, don't beat yourself up.
What about the big savings with 10-3-2-1?
Forget it if your calls aren't over 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
He's taking it really bad.
No games. The AT&T One Rate plan.
Well, if I had money, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd go downtown, buy a Ford truck or two. I'm crazy about a Ford truck. Lord, I'm crazy about a Ford truck. I'm gonna buy me a Ford truck and cruise it up and down the road. I'm gonna buy me a Ford truck and cruise it up and down the road.
For the last 50 years, there's only been one truck built Ford tough.
Woo!
The New England Patriots would love to throw as many blitzes as possible at Kordell Stewart during the first half so that he can't be miracle quarterback during the second half. So they want to give him as many looks as he can so that he has more to think about when they go in to make their halftime adjustments. Guys?
All right, James.
And that's Pete Carroll's game plan, I think, in general, the last 6 weeks of the year.
Right. Give him a lot to think about.
Give everybody a lot to think about. They didn't confuse Dan Marino, but Steve Sidwell's defense just wants to get after that guy that takes a snap from center.
They've done a great job of it. Jerome Bettis twisting his way, falling forward to the 10-yard line with Mark Wheeler hanging on. Jimmy Hitchcock came up to help out.
You see Jerome, this is a guy that plays happy, and those were just a couple of just garbage yards. You know, backs like Jerome Bettis get those yards right there and don't get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. I mean, he just keeps twisting and falling, and that's a lot of guy to fall.
Bettis has quite a collection of a bus memorabilia these days. People sending him hand-carved buses, T-shirts, everything. He said his house is full of those items now, and he really feels appreciated here in Pittsburgh. There he is again, the bus smacked down. He hit a pothole that time in the form of Ted Johnson.
And Ted Johnson inside along with Todd Collins is what concerns the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, because they know the offensive line have got to get off and get these linebackers. They scrape so well. And you'll see a great example of scraping because the line's doing their job, and there's a face scrape. You know, there's scrapes to the side and there's scrapes to the hip. Well, Ted Johnson scrapes right into Jerome Bettis' face and puts him on his back.
So far, New England with these 3 linebackers has been the bust stop. Jerome 6 rushes for 5 yards. Stewart in the shotgun, 3rd and long. Ooh, God, get. From his own end zone, Kordell Stewart with time, and the pass through the hands of Courtney Hawkins and incomplete. Jimmy Hitchcock defending on the play. Stewart unable to convert that 3rd and long.
Well, I tell you, Kordell Stewart knew what he had, knew the coverage, and watch Kordell Stewart deliver this football. You know, this is not a quarterback off to a slow start. Over the zone, into a spot in between defenders,
right,
and he shocked Courtney Hawkins. That was a fine pass.
Josh Miller, first punt covered 45. David Meggett awaits his second. Miller punting from his end zone. Meggett draws a beat on it at the 45. Into Steeler territory, unable to shake the shoestring tackle by Botkin. A 7-yard return after the punt covered 45. They'll join NBC at 3:30 Eastern next Saturday for a look back at 2 of the big stories in golf in 1997. Davis Love's PGA Championship victory and Europe's stunning victory in the Ryder Cup, featured in the PGA of America Year in Review. Then at 4:30, you won't want to miss On the Brink, the PGA Tour Qualifying School, a rare glimpse of the nail-biting, sometimes heart-wrenching annual quest to join the PGA Tour. All starts at 3:30 p.m. next Saturday here on NBC.
And Tom, great field position set up by that holding penalty in the special teams of the Steelers.
And the good defense by New England. Play action fake, Bledsoe through the hands of Sam Gash and incomplete. Curtis Martin, for the 5th straight game, watches from the sideline in street clothes. An abdominal muscle strain that may require surgery.
Hey, you know, Drew Bledsoe's off to a bit of a rough start with 2 of 7 for 16 yards and an interception. But I think over the last month, without Martin and without Glenn, he's become a better quarterback, a more rounded quarterback.
He says it actually simplifies things for him, although it does put some added pressure on him. Colors stopped in the backfield. Great penetration by Dante Jones to make the hit on Derek Cullors for a loss on the play.
Mentioned the penetration by the New England defense being so critical. Watch Dante Jones, 54. Ben Coates can't get that block, can't get the head across the front of Jones. He can't stop him. Jones gets in the backfield, and I don't care who your running back is, when he's being greeted 2 yards in the backfield, you're going to lose yards.
So it's 3rd and 12 after the play by Jones. Pressure, Bledsoe, sacked. Jason Gilden back to the 35-yard line for Gilden, his 6th sack of the season.
Well, you know, Jason Gilden and the rush for the Pittsburgh Steelers do a wonderful job of just getting there with persistence. It's a gradual thing for this team. Gilden 92 right up the gut, but Bledsoe had nowhere to go down the field. Nice job of zone coverage down the field by the Steelers.
Tupa's punt is nearly blocked. Blackwell says stay away from it, and then he picks it up himself. And ducks out of bounds at the 26-yard line. 7-yard return, the punt covered. 43, a penalty flag way back upfield.
And Larry Wiggum, number 25, saw the fair catch signal and stopped and didn't try to tackle him because he said, oh, he's fair catching. The ball hit the ground, though. As soon as that ball hits the ground, bets are off. There's no such thing. That was a lapse by the Pro Bowl special teams player Larry Wiggum, 25 of the Patriots.
There's Wiggum. Meanwhile, back upfield, the injured Steeler apparently is Randy Fuller.
I was mentioning that field position, and that sack by Jason Gilden really did wonders for field position.
On the defense, that penalty's declined. First down.
And running into the kicker, remember, is a 5-yard penalty. Roughing the kicker is the major penalty. That's the reason that penalty is declined. And running into the kicker usually entails underneath, right that. I mean, that was just a slight little bump on the derriere of Tupa, the punter.
Sounded like Walt Coleman's mic was still on and giving the explanation, but the 5-yard penalty wouldn't have made much difference. And while they attend to Fuller, the Patriots decline. A frustrating start of the game for New England. They've run 11 plays and gained 12 yards total. They had the one interception that led to the Pittsburgh touchdown after Kordell Stewart engineered a good drive. Pete Carroll wants to get his offense on track and has to do it, of course, again without a running attack.
Hey, the running attack, though, they had the one negative play, but Colors has had a few runs of 3 and 4 yards. But what Drew Bledsoe has seen, though, is in a defense that's managing to be both aggressive and efficient. Usually when you're aggressive, you're leaving people open. He's seen a lot of zone back behind that aggressiveness.
Bledsoe's playoff numbers, as earlier in the game he threw an interception. So only 5 touchdowns in the postseason with a rating of only 53. Bledsoe talking to Ryan Leaf, the Washington State quarterback, and their situation very similar. Drew Bledsoe also left Washington State as a junior after the team would suffer some pretty substantial losses in personnel. And the numbers of the two are fairly similar. Ryan Leaf perhaps just a bit better in some categories. Well, meanwhile, Bill Cowher glad to be back in action for the Steelers. He said during the Christmas holiday, when the Steelers, of course, had the bye week, they had a lot of time on their hands. He said he couldn't even get a cup of coffee down before he was putting together toys for his children. But the worst was when he and his 10-year-old daughter Lauren played a NFL video game. She was the Cowboys, he was the Steelers. He said he was just about to rack up the winning score in the game when it was called back by penalty. It was Will Wolford holding. And he said he told Will, I can't even on a video game get away from a holding call. There's this big former Pro Bowl left guard.
And Randy Fuller up off the field and just fine now, sitting back down on the bench. So it's good news for the Steelers. And we talked about the field position, Tom. Now, instead of being backed up against the goal line, that sack gets Kordell Stewart and his offense out around the 25-yard line.
They lead 7-0, just over 2.5 minutes left as the blitz comes from New England. Pressure on Stewart. He's able to outrun it. Stewart on the corner dives across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Chris Slade covers him there. There's the escapability, though, of the elusive Kordell Stewart.
Yeah, you mentioned the pressure inside, but, you know, when you talk about pressure and you're getting a lineman like Jones, 96 right here, you're trying to catch a Ferrari with a VW Beetle, and that ain't going to happen. I mean, you just don't have the acceleration out of your big guy. Sure, he comes free, but now you see the package and part of the game that Pete Carroll was so worried about with Kordell Stewart. You can call a good defense, but their execution and their athletic ability can negate it.
Mike Jones had that VW to the floorboard and couldn't catch up. Same result there for Willie McGinnis. Hitchcock finally gets Kordell Stewart down. He's just outrunning them to the corner at the moment. Kordell Stewart, who made a quiet trip home to Louisiana for Christmas, his first trip home for the Christmas holidays since high school, and he said he has the money now. No one wants to give him anything for Christmas.
Watch McGinnis get upfield, but not upfield enough. He gets here, he needs to be here because of the speed and the ability of Kordell Stewart. The bite right there is what cost Willie McGinnis the chance to get Kordell Stewart in the backfield. He bit down with the play fake and didn't maintain that contain up the field.
First quarter has belonged to Kordell Stewart. He has the only score and has the Steelers on the move again. No slow start today. Stewart threads the needle to Thigpen. Another first down. Close to the 40-yard line, a gain of 15 on his first reception of the game. Ty Law wrestled him to the turf.
And now there's a good play action execution by the Pittsburgh Steelers because they turn Chris Sullivan loose. They pull a guard, Brendan Stye, to pick up Sullivan, and he does a nice job of blocking. That enables Kordell Stewart to look down the field, find the zone, find the spot, and find Yancey Thigpen.
Kordell Stewart, who plays with such enthusiasm with a big smile, finding Thigpen as top receiver for the big first down. Bettis, best run of the day as he squirms forward to the 37-yard line where he's covered by Lawyer Malloy as the seconds tick away in the first quarter.
Some more of those garbage yards, though, Tom, but watch what Bettis does. He runs to the left, he stops, he's up high, and then he comes down low. He gets 2 feet off the ground at the end of this run. Watch, good defense. And now good Jerome Bettis getting down low and getting that, I say, 270 pounds, not 243, into the defensive backfield.
And that was the final play of the first quarter. A first quarter that sees New England register only 12 yards and 1 first down. Kordell Stewart has been the star so far as the Steelers lead by 7.
This is for Mr. Blanchard, who told me to make something of myself. For Miss Miller, who never let me settle for a C. For my parents, who believe in my dreams. For myself, for my future.
Be all that you can be.
Start the second quarter at Three Rivers with the Steelers leading 7-0. Totally dominating that first quarter with their defense, only allowing 12 yards, and Pittsburgh had 102 total yards, 93 of those a result of Kordell Stewart's running and passing.
We talked a lot about how important Bettis would be in this game. He's only got 9 yards rushing.
Fake the reverse. Stewart with a screen pass to Bettis. Bettis with blockers in front. Flag down as Bettis leaps to the 28-yard line.
It's an illegal man downfield, Tom. One of the linemen for the Steelers. That just took too long to develop.
They faked the reverse, and by the time they had the screen set up, it, like you say, was a little late in developing. Cost them the penalty.
Ineligible downfield on the offense, number 68. 5 yards, still second down.
Brendan Stye downfield. Let's go down to James Lofton.
Well, Randy Fuller was injured while he was trying to block the punt of Tom Tupa. His head hit Tupa's hip, and then his head hit the ground. And Randy, since it's on somebody else, will term it a mild concussion. He's still being evaluated right now. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, a mild concussion is kind of like minor surgery. It's things that happen to somebody else. Right now, Randy Fuller's pretty positive he's got a concussion. It's his.
What? A mild concussion? Now, what's there's such thing? It's a concussion or it's not. And then from looking at Randy, it is.
Now you had a little double dip on the penalty there.
Right.
Not only the downfield, but offensive pass interference. It was just too much frills and razzle-dazzle and flim-flam to the beginning of that play is what really doomed it from the start.
So the ball back to the New England 47, where it's 2nd and 16. Stewart deflected and incomplete. That time they got the hands up as they were rushing Stewart, and Mike Jones able to deflect the pass.
You know, earlier in the game, Kordell Stewart was in the pocket and they were blitzing him. And we've seen him there stand in the pocket facing pressure, and they knocked the thing down. But what Pittsburgh has done on this drive effectively earlier with Kordell is get him out of the pocket. Instead of leaving him right where he is right here, and Mike Jones gets up and knocks the thing down, but instead of in the pocket, I think it's better to get this guy outside where there's no bodies, there's no arms, and there's less trouble in front of him.
3rd and 16. Stewart from the gun. Stepping away from the rush, dragged down and caught from behind. Chris Slade didn't let him escape that time as Willie McGinnis came along to help. And this time they keep Kordell Stewart under control and force a 4th down punt.
And that's a couple of teammates there, and Willie McGinnis and Chris Slade, that are in constant competition when it comes to getting after the quarterback. Who can get there first? Well, it's not so much who gets there first, but who holds on to him. McGinnis gets there first, but Slade actually puts him down on the ground.
And so Josh Miller is on to punt. David Meggett awaiting it at the 10-yard line. Some pressure on Miller. Meggett to the 21-yard line. We'll take a timeout with the Steelers up 7 on New England.
NBC is brought to you by Nike. By Hertz, for business, for pleasure. Nobody does it exactly like Hertz. By Fidelity Investments, where 12 million investors put their trust. And by Miller Genuine Draft, to remind you it's time for a good old macro brew.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, and James Lofton at Three Rivers Stadium. A study in futility for the New England offense so far. No more than 3 and out on any of their first 4 possessions. Contrast that with the playoff game against the Steelers a year ago. After their first 4 possessions, they had 21 points. Bledsoe on 1st down, wide open is Jefferson, and the forgotten man is rediscovered for a 1st down and a 19-yard gain. Earl Holmes, the linebacker, forced to cover the speedy Sean Jefferson.
Well, you know what New England does there? They kept Ben Coates in, their tight end, top of the screen. 87 is in as a pass blocker. He's been their best weapon. He gets good pass protection. He takes a shot at the end, and, you know, Terry Glenn says, gee, I don't want him to forget about me. Well, Jefferson, the defense hasn't forgotten about you.
Keith Byers in motion. Cedric Shaw's in the game, too. Fumble. Bledsoe tried to get it to Shaw. The ball was knocked loose and recovered by the Steelers.
Nolan Harrison blew right up straight through the field and caused that fumble.
And Jason Gilden wrapped it up for Pittsburgh. 2nd New England turnover.
This is just an excellent job by Nolan Harrison of taking advantage of the fact that nobody wants to block him. He gets right to the junction point just as Bledsoe is trying to hand that ball off to Cedric Shaw. I mean, how you don't account for a defensive end the size of a Nolan Harrison, 74, runs right straight up. They're trying to reach block with Wollabaugh, the center. You cannot do that, and they paid the price.
First New England turnover turned into a touchdown on a Kordell Stewart run. They have their 2nd turnover now. 1st down. Jerome Bettis once again finds the going rough up the middle. Gain of about 3. Todd Collins and Ted Johnson tripping him up.
He's going to make some yards on you outside, but he's got to go inside to make those big yards. And when you're talking about this Pittsburgh offense, I mentioned earlier, I just think that Kordell Stewart needs to get out of the pocket, avoid the turnovers like you're seeing New England has had a habit of doing of late against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that's the critical thing. Get them outside, slow down the blitz, you get back to your offense.
From the 32 of New England, 2nd down play, swing pass, complete to Tim Lester. Lester gets back to the line of scrimmage where he's tackled by Lawyer Malloy.
And on that fumble, let's take one more look at it. Watch the center, Wollabaugh and Nolan Harrison blow up the field. Harrison is out by the guard. Wollabaugh is trying to get all the way over there along with his tackle Moss. They couldn't double team him, much less try to get him with one, and Harrison blows right straight through it. That's terrible execution by the Patriots offensive line.
3rd and 8. Kordell Stewart from the shotgun. Blackwell in motion. Stewart's going to run with it. Hit behind the line, got away, then trapped and taken down for good by Chris Canty for a loss back to the 35-yard line. They didn't let Stewart get outside that time.
Well, Tom, you need the right kind of defense if you're going to run what looks to be kind of a trap quarterback draw. And they didn't get the right kind of defense. Watch Will Wolford, the guard, 77, make a quick trap on Willie McGinnis. Well, the problem is Kordell Stewart is nowhere near that block. A running back with a ball has to be near a lineman trapping, unless otherwise it's useless.
Canty made the play after Israel had slowed him up. And David Meggett will await the Josh Miller punt. Miller's trying to push punch it, and it's partially blocked. Deflected, and it will go out of bounds just inside the 25-yard line. Only 12 yards on the punt, and New England escapes. Back in Pittsburgh, Ben Coates has been a non-factor so far in the game.
And really, James Lofton during the break made a great observation. What they're trying to do is get Keith Byers more involved from the tight end position. But Byers is a lot of things. But I tell you, in this offense, he's no Ben Coates.
Coates with that injured right thumb has not caught a ball. Bledsoe's pass overshoots Sean Jefferson, incomplete.
Yeah, that last possession for the Pittsburgh offense, it's huge that they didn't get any points off of that for this defense. But, you know, you look back at it, this is what this defense has been doing. Last 2 games, all the blitzes, they're getting 1 touchdown allowed, and they've scored a touchdown. That is playing Pete Carroll football. And it's a style of football it took this team a while really to buy into defensively, but they're really executing it perfectly.
It was a great stand not to allow any points after the turnover. Then Slade got a piece of the punt. Decent field position. Here's Cedric Shaw. Shaw trying to dance his way free. Trapped and taken down by Earl Holmes.
And Cedric Shaw is in the game because Cullors, you know, he dinged his ankle a little bit last week, so he's not completely healthy. Shaw is part of the running back by committee they're trying to get going in New England. And, you know, the young guy out of Iowa, experience-wise, you know, how do you feel? You're active for 1 game during the regular season, and suddenly they look at you during the wild card in the divisional playoff and say, hey, okay, you're playing.
He just got his first career carry as Kordell Stewart single-handedly has outgained New England. Cedric Shaw was Iowa's all-time leading rusher. From the shotgun, Bledsoe has the man open. It's Jefferson, and he backs out of bounds at the 35-yard line with a New England first down. It's a gain of 13 yards. Jefferson makes the clutch catch in front of Carnell Lake.
Well, Drew Bledsoe has not forgotten Jefferson. He also hasn't forgotten that it's very important for him to get the protection when he's getting the kind of blitzing that he's getting up front out of Pittsburgh. And Jefferson just does a nice job of finding the spot, and he's very aware of where he was on the field. But when Drew Bledsoe is good, he is really good. And when Drew Bledsoe is bad, the Patriots just flat don't win football games.
Each week, Pete Carroll challenges some of his players that they must have a big game, and Drew Bledsoe got the challenge this week. He is zipping another one to Jefferson for another first down. Jefferson hooking up again with Bledsoe, this time 15 yards in front of Chad Scott, and another New England first down into Pittsburgh territory.
There's certain passes quarterbacks throw with touch. They're going to try to just lightly put it over the linebackers. Well, Drew Bledsoe puts a laser into Jefferson's chest. Remember, early in the game, tried to go to Glenn, got nothing out of that. We're not forgetting about Jefferson. They just had to get the shot at Glenn and see what they had.
Steelers with a blitz. New England runs into the middle of it and gets no gain.
He runs right into Earl Holmes, the young inside linebacker. I mean, this guy flat just speed bumps the running back. Coming into the screen right there, you'll see the scraping linebacker 50. Welcome.
Cedric Shaw, no gain.
And Holmes, a guy that is not lacking for confidence, told Bill Cowher a couple years ago, you just had the steal of the draft, but linebackers are a tradition here at Pittsburgh.
Bledsoe has protection and wide open, catch made and out of bounds by Terry Glenn. Glenn somehow came free. Carnell Lake recovered too late, and it goes for 36 yards. Big play by the Patriots offense, their best of the game.
You know, sometimes when you stand up here, things jump out at you. And when you see a receiver this wide open, it jumps out at you. There was a coverage drop right there by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Glenn is left alone, and it jumps out at Drew Bledsoe. He's looking at that side, but he's not expecting. You see a little double hitch when he went to throw? That was being anxious and wanting to get the ball to Glenn, and his eye wide open.
His eyes got real wide when he saw that. First down, New England. Plenty of time. Bledsoe throws it away. Out of the end zone. Closest to it was Lovett Purnell, who is the backup tight end. And we assume that Ben Coates unable to catch the ball with that injured thumb, so Purnell was in there on that play.
And the reason they're down here inside this red zone is that long pass to Glenn. Watch here. the pattern and then watch Glenn get here and then no one sort of keep with him. See, Glenn runs down the field, Carnell Lake turns the wrong way, and Glenn just sort of gets out there, and that's a scary pass for a quarterback and receiver. The quarterback's afraid he's not going to throw it just right, and the receiver's saying, oh God, it's easy, don't drop it.
He did not, and it's second down from the Pittsburgh 13. Bledsoe chased from the pocket, directing a little traffic, and throws it away. Holmes flushed Bledsoe from the pocket, could find no one, and sailed it out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and 10 from the Steeler 13.
That gets a little bit of a smile out of Drew Bledsoe, something you don't see that young quarterback do too often on the football field. But one of the things over the last 4 to 6 weeks is as he's matured, as he's become more of the guy here without the other weapons, he's had more fun. But when you're defending a Drew Bledsoe, if you can get him out on the perimeter and running, that's what's called best case scenario.
9th play of the drive coming up. Blitz. New England picks it up, but Bledsoe's pass is short of Keith Byers and incomplete. Not a good throw from Bledsoe that time.
Well, actually, you got to give a little bit of credit to the defense there too, Tom, because Drew Bledsoe's trying to get Byers, but he's got to throw that ball through like a forest of arms put up there by Bill Cowher's defenders. It's not really a case of a terrible pass, just nowhere for him to put it through. He tried to put through the right elbow and the left arm.
So now Adam Vinatieri will attempt a 31-yard field goal. Puts it down, and he boots it through. Vinatieri connects from 31 yards, and the Patriots dent the scoreboard. It's now 7-3 Pittsburgh. From Three Rivers Stadium, Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, and James Lofton. 7-3, Vinatieri with a field goal, cutting the margin to 4 points. Now set to kick off to Blackwell and Coleman. Vinatieri's kick to Blackwell at the 15. Gets to the outside and nearly broke it. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Let's check in on Ben Coates' situation now with James Lofton. James?
We all know about his thumb injury, but when he came off the field after the 4th down field goal attempt, he was limping on his right ankle. They have looked at the ankle, they've looked at the knee, and Randy and Tom and Randy, you'll know this especially when you hurt something at first, you don't know whether it's your ankle or your knee, and the doctors and trainers, there's a mass of people around Ben Coates right now and trying to assess his situation. Back up to you guys.
I tell you, James is an athlete, Tom. See, when athletes get hurt, it could be anything. When a plow horse gets hurt like me, I knew exactly what was wrong when I got hurt.
Here's no plow horse. Jerome Bettis, best run of the day for Bettis, finally breaks free for 15 yards. The Patriots came on a blitz. They got it to Bettis. He got outside and had to run downfield before Collins and Clay could track him down.
Well, I don't know about not being a plow horse. You hook a plow up to the back of this train right here, you're going to be putting a heck of a trough into this AstroTurf field, because this is what I was talking about, of freeing up Jerome Bettis with the numbers looking at you. If you're from that angle, if you're seeing the 36 on his chest and you're a defensive back or you're a linebacker like Todd Collins, you got trouble coming.
When the bus gets those RPMs up there, look out. Fake the toss. Stewart's pass is deflected. Good defensive play by Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah, that was excellently drawn up and executed by the defense, not biting on what Kordell Stewart does. Watch Lawyer Malloy. He just keeps coming. And then he does the smart thing of getting his hands up. And, you know, Kordell Stewart runs the risk there of throwing it into a defensive back's arms. He could hold on to it. A defensive lineman, you got a little bit of a chance. He's just going to try to knock it down.
Averaging 7 tackles a game. Another blitz. And right into Jerome Bettis. Ted Johnson coming at the snap of the ball, and they handed the ball right to Bettis in front of him. Collins got a piece too. Well, it's the best time of the year if you're a football fan, and Sunday the NFL on NBC continues its road to Super Bowl 32 with the AFC Divisional playoffs. coverage 3:30 p.m. Eastern with a pregame show. Then Arrowhead Stadium's the site as the Chiefs take on the Broncos in another intriguing rematch. In fact, that last meeting has been called the game of the year, a field goal to win it as time expired. The AFC Divisional playoffs this weekend here on NBC.
Now, the players make that one sound like a grudge match more than a rematch.
Kordell Stewart for Johnson, double coverage, can't hold on, incomplete. Hitchcock was with him all the way and then got some help late from Malloy.
Well, it was the help late from Malloy that I think really saved Hitchcock, because Hitchcock never turns back for the football. And Johnson, you can see, watch his eyes. He stares at it the entire way. It's coming, it's coming. But that help on the inside from Malloy is what makes the difference, because Hitchcock still hasn't seen this pass.
It sets up another punt for Pittsburgh. The fifth punt of this first half and nearly blocked. Miller got it away, and Meggett calls for the fair catch. 17-yard line. Larry Wiggum nearly blocked the punt. It covered 37 yards. There's a penalty down, and so Wiggum was for a moment. Now he gets to his feet. And a holding call against New England.
Once again, just like the last time you had one of these penalties, look at the field position and the yards this offense loses because of this mistake by the special teams.
Holding on the return team, number 21, during the kick, half the distance, first down.
Steve Israel guilty of the hold. Pete Carroll's lost the holiday spirit in a hurry. He's down 7-3.
James Lofton back in Pittsburgh, and Ben Coates is back on the field. It's a reported twisted knee, and he's not a plow horse. He's an athlete, so he's in the ball game. Back up to you guys.
They could use him. They could also use a running game backed up deep, and they get a little bit of a burst from Derek Cullors on that play as he crosses the 10-yard line. Let's go back to James Lofton.
And, you know, Pete Carroll has the, everyone calls him laid back and easygoing guy. You should have seen him light into Steve Israel, who was the guy who got called for holding on that punt. And then he went over and he got on the defensive lineman, told them that they have to shut down the run. They have to play better up front. Back up to you guys.
You look at that crooked nose of Pete Carroll's. He didn't get that in a chess match.
And when you start taking on defensive linemen, you're pretty serious. Shaw tries to get a block on the corner from Coates, cuts it up, and is knocked out of bounds at about the 19-yard line, very close to a first down.
I tell you, a run like that has got Drew Bledsoe cheering behind Cedric Shaw, because getting out from behind this end zone means that you're not going to get as much blitz, and you've got a young running back looking for some contact, and he's going to find it. Listen.
Ooh, that was Myron Bell. Do you miss that at all?
Do I miss that? I miss that about as much as James Lofton misses, going across the middle for a safety to hit him he never sees.
Only 11 yards, but the rush got them out of a deep hole. Now Bledsoe will go to the air, and he'll run with it himself. He won't pass, slides down, and a flag comes late at the 22-yard line.
It's going to be a personal foul, I think, against Pittsburgh. Looks like right at the end, as Harrison was sliding, might have been an elbow attempt at Bledsoe's head.
Once the quarterback gives himself up, and it will be against the Steelers. Once he goes into that feet-first slide, now the discussion.
Well, he was clearly giving himself up.
Right.
Now the discussion has got to be, did the guy actually have enough time to say, I cannot stop?
There is no penalty on the play. He did not hit him.
Good enough, fair enough. Don't hit him, no penalty.
Well, we'll be able to show you good enough exactly whether or not he hits him or not. Drew Bledsoe doing something the Pittsburgh defense would love to see him do some of, and that's run. Smartly goes into the slide. And Holmes hits that elbow right into Bledsoe's chin. Doesn't get a full meat Goodwood contact on, but watch the right arm. Kind of twists that head around, so au contraire on the field. He did hit him.
He did indeed hit him, but they escaped the penalty. So the Patriots here are going to 3 yards in a cloud of turf to get out of the shadow of their own goal line. They've advanced it to the 22. Just over 4 minutes left, first half. Pass complete to Shaw, and Cedric Shaw with his first NFL reception has another New England first down.
Hey, remember, this is a guy that was active for one football game this year in the regular season. Then last week in the wild card, he comes in here, and you can't ask for more out of a young football player than giving you a little bit of contribution, helping you move the ball out in the shadow of your goal line when a Curtis Martin is unfortunately in a sideline jacket and a baseball cap.
Pretty amazing that the Patriots have mounted this late season surge with Martin on the sideline and Coates somewhat less than full speed. Dave Meggett also banged up. Nothing there for Derek Cullors. Loss on the play of a couple yards thanks to the penetration by Levon Kirkland, the Steelers' leading tackler, who's on his way to the Pro Bowl for the second time.
Well, I was going to say there's plenty there with Levon Kirkland, but when you don't have a Curtis Martin on the football field, when people say, oh, so what? Well, last couple times against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of what? You know, I was at that Fog Bowl last year in January of '97 when he pulled off that 78-yard run. That was the one that gave him the 21-0 lead, and that's really the play that broke the Steelers back.
Coates in motion. Bledsoe, short drop. On target to Jefferson. Hit at the 40-yard line and driven back by Carnell Lake. And Sean Jefferson, the forgotten man to start the game, has 4 receptions.
Well, you know, Carnell Lake, we saw that one time how unusual it was that Carnell Lake turns the wrong way. But when you're throwing out against a Carnell Lake, if he's up on the receiver, you don't want any part of him. But if he's off, like Drew Bledsoe told us yesterday, I'm going to take my shots. But if you take your shots, he's going to take his. He's one of the sure tacklers in the NFL.
From the 40-yard line, it's 3rd and 5. 4 wide receiver set. There's Jefferson again. Flag is down. Jefferson would have the first down.
Holding.
Against the Steelers, it will be a New England first down.
Holding on the defense, number 30. A penalty decline. First down.
Chad Scott was guilty of the hold. Meanwhile, Jefferson with his 5th catch gives him the first down.
Well, Chad Scott, number 30, at the top of the screen. Watch him working right there against Troy Brown. You know, methinks you doth protest too much. Not. That was holding. I mean, holding, yanking, and turning. I don't care if you let him go in that 5-yard area. That's holding.
This drive began all the way back at the Patriot 9-yard line. They're now to their own 48. Bledsoe with time. Threw it off Coates and incomplete. Nearly intercepted on the carom by Dante Jones. As we come to the 2-minute warning, officially 1:57 left. 7-3 Steelers.
On that last play, Drew Bledsoe's trying to gun this thing into Ben Coates. Well, Coates had a little bit of a confrontation with Levon Kirkland and never really got to look up. And see the umpire right there making the tip ball signal. Look at the confrontation right there. Just a little bit of a push, but that is why Ben Coates never turns around.
That's the immaculate deflection.
And it's really, to be honest, it's turnabout is fair play. Levon Kirkland and Ben Coates are good buddies. And in the first game this year, Ben Coates came out and just mugged Levon Kirkland, threw him to the ground, and caught a touchdown pass. And a little bit of payback right there by Levon. He told him he'd do it.
Yeah, he
did it.
He said it, he called it, and he did it. Bledsoe too high for Glenn. Sort of hung him out to dry that time. And Chad Scott delivered a blow.
That hit by Chad Brown about put a plastic man on Terry Glenn's arms. Because Glenn looks like he's about to reach out and catch it, and it just stretched his entire body out, getting hit in the ribs like that.
New England with 3 timeouts remaining. They're facing a 3rd and 10 at their own 48-yard line. Clock shows 1:51.
Remember how backed up they started, though. This has been a field position football game, and they've done enough to put the Steelers in a hole if they get the ball back.
10th play of the drive. Bledsoe from the gun. Has Glenn Reception made, but short of the first down. They'll spot the ball at about the 45-yard line as Terry Glenn makes his 4th reception of the game.
You're going to have 4th and about 5, but this is a no-brainer. You punch this thing, you sort of pooch kick it, and you set the Steelers' offense up in a bad spot. Nice job by the offense of the New England Patriots. Yeah, they didn't get points, but in this type of ball game, it's where the ball ends up, and the ball's going to end up well into Pittsburgh territory now.
Tupa with the punt. Courtney Hawkins watches it bounce. Takes a good Steeler bounce. It'll be down to about the 21-yard line. 25 yards on the punt. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, Greg Gumbel, Sam Weiss, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth, the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. And Joe Gibbs will have his halftime adjustments. We'll have to listen to those as he tells you the coaching points he would make were he in charge in this game. Plus, we'll hear from Denver head coach Mike Shanahan as they head into Arrowhead Stadium for that big match with the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow. That's all coming up at halftime on the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. And right now, 1:34 left in this second quarter. Kordell Stewart completes the pass to Hawkins, wrestled down around the 30-yard line. Steve Israel first to arrive on the scene with Jimmy Hitchcock there too.
Hey, and Kordell Stewart in Pittsburgh comes out in 4 wides, Tom, and what the defense does for New England is they get soft. They haven't been soft in this half. They don't bring any kind of a blitz at Kordell. He's got 4 wides, and he's able to get this pass. This half is not over, guys. You've got 1 minute and 30 seconds almost, 1 minute and 28 left. You better get aggressive with Kordell or he'll march the ball down the field.
Full complement of timeouts for the Steelers. Stewart has hit 5 of 12. Handoff from the shotgun and all the way to the 40-yard line, and a Pittsburgh first down as Fred McAfee gets the call.
Hey, you notice who the last couple of guys up off the ground before McAfee were? Brendan Stye and Dermontti Dawson just crushed some people inside on that play.
Approaching the 1-minute mark. Timeouts, 3 left. Blitz comes from the Patriots, and the ball deflected off Courtney Hawkins, incomplete.
And right over Hitchcock's head. That ball's deflected. Hitchcock's looking down. That ball wasn't that high above his head, it didn't look like. But New England not afraid, getting a little aggressive, bringing the blitz with Bruschi, bringing the blitz inside with Lawyer Malloy. You see the tip. Watch the ball be tipped right here. And look at Hitchcock right behind it. Oh!
Can't really see him just out of the picture, but
it was not high above his head, but he was looking down at the ground at the end of the play.
2nd and 10. Steeler 39. Blitz again. Stewart's in trouble. Got away and heaves it over toward the sideline with Lawyer Malloy wrapped around his ankle.
Well, that's not a dainty quarterback wearing number 10 for Pittsburgh. And Lawyer Malloy just found out about, if you get a piece of Kordell, you better get you a big chunk.
Although it's been my experience, Randy, that anytime a lawyer gets a good hold on you, you're in trouble.
Well, Kordell Stewart was able to break the hold, or at least let him have the hold, sort of give him the leg and take the pass. He gets a towel, then he gets the ankle, and Kordell still hasn't gone down.
56 seconds left. It's 3rd and 10. Stewart down the sideline. Catch made. Yancey Thigpen fighting Ty Law and got the football with 50 seconds left. It covers 27 yards. Second catch for the Steelers' leading receiver on the year.
In a 2-minute drill, that is a practiced play. Kordell Stewart knows the coverage. He's throwing behind Ty Law. Thigpen, you saw him look back before Ty Law had any clue where the ball is. That's great execution by Kordell Stewart and his receiver, Yancey Thigpen. And this throw just shows you again how much Kordell Stewart has grown in this offense and how much of a real threat he's just becoming.
From the 33. Again, the Patriots blitz picked up by Pittsburgh with the pass from Stewart too high to handle for Yancey Thigpen. Thigpen matched up with Chris Canty that time.
Now, initially, Kordell Stewart on this play got himself a look at, looked like everybody was going to try to blitz him because Malloy's in there, Willie Clay's in there, but they only blitz one person in Willie Clay, and they actually zone blitz, dropping Chris Slade out of there. That's why there was really nowhere to go with the ball. It was the zone behind the blitz that stopped that play.
45 seconds. Stewart, intercepted by Israel. Diving grab by Steve Israel. And the first Pittsburgh turnover with 39 seconds left in the half.
Wow, Kordell Stewart comes into this game with 17 interceptions. He's smiling and dialing. He's got it going on. He doesn't throw a bad pass here. He's just a victim of a wonderful play by Steve Israel. You want to talk about breaking on the ball and then extension. Watch his body as he extends for the ball and see if he trapped it. I think it's a catch the entire way. He's got both hands on it, stretching. Nope, that was not a catch. That ball hits the ground.
From that angle?
Yeah, from that angle, which is the true angle. And, you know, remember, folks, we've got an awful lot of looks at this. The official has about a second to look at it, but that was a great defensive play and a good sell job by Israel that he caught it.
Now 39 seconds left. Let's see what New England elects to do with that play blown dead before it got started. New England has 3 timeouts left.
False start. Prior to the snap, offense number 77. Still first down.
Zephros Moss with a false start.
Hey, if you're going to try to run offense right here, you do not want to make a mistake like that. You don't get a penalty. But one more time, let's look at that interception, or alleged maybe interception. It's been called a catch. The ball's turning sideways. The ball's coming out, and it's trapped between Steve Israel and the ground in his hands. Good defense. Got away with one.
First and 15 from the 17-yard line. Cedric Shaw takes it out across the 20-yard line where he's tackled by Myron Bell.
Levon Kirkland, the big inside linebacker for the Steelers, down on the field right now. Talk about the heart and soul of a linebacking core, the last remaining member of a group that used to talk about Levon Kirkland, Chad Brown, Green, Greg Lloyd, the last one left, and he's a Pro Bowler.
Pittsburgh charged with a timeout with the injury to Levon Kirkland, one of the biggest linebackers ever at 275 pounds, and probably a little more than that after that trip home at Christmas time.
Well, you see the big guy right here, and what exactly does happen to Levon Kirkland working against Todd Rucci. He's being held by Rucci. He spins off, and you see the contact down in the lower part of his leg right there by one of his own players as he spun out of that block.
Kirkland, the Steelers' leading tackler on the season, 126. Also had 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. Just about did everything for the Steelers in his 6th season from Clemson. Former 2nd-round draft choice, headed to his 2nd Pro Bowl. Good news for Steeler fans is Kirkland able to get up and walk off the field. Former Clemson All-American. And Ben Coates has not been a factor in the game, as we pointed out, fighting thumb injury and twisting a knee earlier. Not on the field, in fact, right now. Lovett Purnell is there instead.
Tom, if Ben Coates can't catch the ball and be effective as a receiver, you're better off with somebody in there blocking.
Bledsoe with a screen to Byers, nothing doing. Well defended by Chris Oldham. As we come to the 20-second mark and inside it. And New England facing a 3rd and long. So Pittsburgh will take the timeout. Now tonight on NBC.
A daughter needs the pretender to clear her father's name.
My father was not a traitor.
A special 2-hour pretender. Then the profiler is closer than ever to catching serial killer Jack.
He's still here.
Jack is in the building. A special 2-hour pretender followed by an all-new profiler. NBC tonight.
That's coming up tonight here on NBC. Saturday night lineup. We have 20 seconds left in the first half. Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. New England with the ball on their own 25-yard line, 3rd and 7, and trailing 7-3. Ben Coates out of action, watching from the sideline. A twisted knee in this game, and already a thumb injury that has, just from the looks of a stab he made early in the game, prevented him from catching the ball effectively. Big loss, literally and figuratively. Cedric Shaw crosses the 25 to about the 27, and Pittsburgh will use its final timeout of this first half. They'll get the ball back on a 4th down punt.
There's nothing wrong with that from the New England standpoint. You got it out there. You didn't get the first down. You didn't finish off the half, but you didn't make a mistake. In a couple situations, you've seen Drew Bledsoe in this offense in the first half make a mistake, and Pittsburgh trying to take advantage of it, once with a touchdown, once with a blown opportunity by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But give him the ball back here, and if Kordell Stewart can throw the ball 80 yards in the air again like he did against Michigan when he was at Colorado, you better have your defenders back there knocking that ball straight down to the ground when it happens.
Kordell told us that was still his biggest football thrill, and watching the Rose Bowl the other day, Kordell Stewart came to mind just as Ryan Leaf was trying to beat Michigan on a last-second play.
Look at that safe formation. New England's got nobody inside on this.
Got like a teacup around Tom Tupa. Blackwell fields it on the bounce. No, he doesn't. Now grabs it. Trying to dodge special team members. He has a convoy. Blackwell still on his feet with a blocker in front. Cuts back and is tackled at the 15-yard line. No time left, but a flag down, and the half cannot end on a defensive penalty. 57-yard return. Will they have a play left?
Boy, we've seen New England on defense relax one time where it really hurt them bad on that Kordell Stewart run, and it looked like right there the coverage team just flat relaxed.
But the penalty is against the Steelers, and that will end the half. A half marked by Kordell Stewart, 40-yard scamper, but excellent New England defense, holding Jerome Bettis to 27 yards and Kordell Stewart to 6 of 17. The bus held in check in this first half, and Steve Israel with a great diving interception. The defense is predominating. Now stay tuned for Greg Gumbel and Company, the Domino's Pizza halftime report, after these messages and a word from your local station. The third quarter here in Pittsburgh, and New England hanging around, as Sam said, very dangerous, and it is a very interesting first half, as we expected two good defensive teams, and the defense dominating most of the time.
Exactly. Joe Gibbs made a wonderful point about Kordell Stewart in maintaining him in the pocket and the contain. I said earlier, you got to get him out of the pocket. I think Pittsburgh has to do that in the second half. For New England, they are hanging around. And this is the kind of game that a New England Patriots team can be very, very effective in. Pittsburgh's got 90 yards rushing, but 55 of that's out of Kordell Stewart. He's been your best weapon. And like they pointed out just a minute ago in the pregame or at halftime, this is a half that belongs to Kordell Stewart. Will it belong to Kordell Stewart today?
And you saw the closeness of the numbers on the Coors Light halftime stats as we get ready to kick off the third quarter. Divisional playoffs from Three Rivers Stadium, 7-3, Pittsburgh leading New England. Adam Vinatieri is getting ready to tee the ball up to get the second half underway.
And we said about it coming right in, and you know, the fact they got to get Jerome Bettis involved. We've seen that, you know, Ben Coates with the ankle and the thumb has been basically a non-factor in the first half, and Bettis with 25 yards rushing also has been a non-factor. Pittsburgh has to get him involved to help Kordell Stewart.
Coates actually twisting a knee and not an ankle earlier, and already bothered with a thumb. Here's Will Blackwell taking the second half kickoff, trying to break it to the outside, stumbles. There's a flag down, and Blackwell to the 25-yard line.
Well, that's going to be a hold, I think, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a yank. Remember the yards your offense loses with these penalties on the returns. You're going to get decent field position. Now Bill Cowher's backed up again.
Pete Carroll saying,
on the return team, number 41, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Flowers with a hold. Pete Carroll saying yesterday that maybe he and Bill Cowher would just go at it to decide things. He said it'd be the chin against the jaw. And from the looks of both of them on the sideline today, it'd be a pretty good match.
And what you're seeing is mentally that matchup. Physically, I don't know about, but mentally, you're seeing both guys throwing bombs at each other.
Steelers backed up to their own 10. Kordell Stewart to Johnson. And let's go down to James Lofton, who talked to the chin and the jaw as the second half began.
I think we can get pay-per-view on that matchup between the two coaches. Well, I talked to both of them, and the first words out of Pete Carroll's mouth is we need to cut down on the little small penalties, little 5-yard jobs. Bill Cowher said to his guys, we need to shake the rust off. Hopefully we've done that all year long. The second half has been our half, and that's what they're planning to do this second half. Back up to you guys.
All right, James, 8 yards on that first down pass to Johnson. He goes in motion here. And it is Jerome Bettis. And Bettis pounding away to the 25-yard line. First down.
Hey, that's the kind of Jerome Bettis, as he does his little fire dance after his run, that this Pittsburgh Steelers offense needs and Kordell Stewart needs. You know, it's one thing to break down an offense by halves. Yes, he's bad in the first half. Yes, he's better in the second half. But when he gets a run like this out of Jerome Bettis, he gets good blocking up front from his offensive line, especially Dermontti Dawson. The running game sets up Kordell Stewart. Bettis runs better in the second half. Kordell throws better in the second half.
And Jerome, tell us that dance was the Bettis bust bounce. You see if he does another one here. There's a flag down as he's tripped up and falls to the 30-yard line. Lawyer Malloy tripped him up.
Somebody had a little bit. Somebody, Tom, had a little bit too good a hold on their technique. But remember, we were talking about first half, second half with Kordell Stewart. Well, it's more than just first half, second half with Kordell Stewart. It's by attempts. Look at this, 48.1 at 1 through 10, and look at these numbers right here at 21 through 30 attempts. Right now, Kordell Stewart is at 18 passes, so he's getting himself up into the plus 20 territory, and that's when you worry about Kordell Stewart, when he gets his rhythm in and he really gets a look at the defense you're putting on the field.
But Justin Strelzik called for a hold, which sets up a 1st and 20 back to the Steelers' 16. Screen pass, Hawkins. And Hawkins breaks free for a moment, advances to the 25-yard line. Willie Clay finally got through to tackle Hawkins.
That's a perfect screen pass by Pittsburgh. What it does, it gets you back to the line of scrimmage, basically, that you originally started at. And you get good blocking from the offensive line. File that one away if you're a New England Patriots fan and coach. You're going to see more screens. With the blitzing Bill Cowher's offense has been getting out of this defense, a screen pass, especially with Bettis, is incredibly effective.
Here's Bettis on the sweep. Try to cut back, couldn't get there. Hit hard and dropped after a short gain. Todd Collins, Ted Johnson, they string it out. Bettis can't turn the corner, and Lawyer Malloy puts the finishing touches.
Well, you know, remember I told you that Jerome Bettis does ugly good. He's a great ugly back, and ugly by I mean blasting it in there and getting ugly. He does cute, just sort of average, and right this, when you got him going sideways, that's kind of cute. And at the end of this play, you had a little confrontation between Jerome Bettis and Lawyer Malloy. Malloy gave up and kind of mimicked his little post-run firewalk.
Bettis out of the game on 3rd and 9. Stewart chased but got away. Breaks to the outside and is bumped out of bounds just about the line of scrimmage by Chris Canty.
Well, look at him smile. I mean, you got to enjoy the enthusiasm and the flat fun this guy has playing quarterback. But if you're a defensive coordinator, look at why you just start guzzling antacid when you play this guy. You've blitzed him, you got him. Nope, you don't have him. You got contain, no, you don't have contain. He's such an incredible athlete that is now turning into a top-notch all-around quarterback.
It's hard to imagine two guys that play the game with more joy than Jerome Bettis and Kordell Stewart. Josh Miller's punt, short. Meggett picks it up on the hop. dances a little dance and is taken down at the 45-yard line. 9-yard return of a 37-yard punt. Stewart had to give it up, but he's still ahead 7-3.
Well, on NBC is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. By Subway, the way a sandwich should be. By American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by Staples, the office superstore.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, James Lofton, Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh. First possession of the second half for New England, and Ben Coates back in the game. Does not have a catch today. Derek Cullors at running back, though Cedric Shaw has been the most productive runner for New England. Bledsoe's first down pass. Sean Jefferson can't hold on, but it'll be ruled incomplete. Hit by Kordell Lake. The ball came loose. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Hey, we talk all the time about defensive backs closing on the ball. Watch Kordell Lake, the cornerback, close on the offensive player. Look at that wrap up. That is how you get a ball to come loose. If there's any doubt in the catch, 1, 2, catch, hit. I'm telling you, I disagree. That is a catch by Jefferson, a great tackle by Lake, and a missed call by our officials.
Yeah, catch and a fumble. It went out of bounds. It would have still been Patriots ball. Derek Cullors crosses midfield to the 48 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. An 8-yard run. Levon Kirkland makes the tackle for Pittsburgh.
Well, remember, Levon Kirkland got hit in the side of the leg and tweaked his knee a little bit earlier, and Bruce Armstrong's trying to hold him, but can't hold him quite long enough, and the big guy comes loose. And this is the kind of linebacker you're looking at in Levon Kirkland. He's 6'1", 275-ish, maybe a little bit bigger, but he can run with running backs. He can run with tight ends. It's what makes him one of the most physical inside linebackers with a combination of athletic ability in this league.
3rd and 2. Bledsoe zips it incomplete. Terry Glenn couldn't hold on. That one had some steam on it, and Glenn is a little slow getting up.
Hey, I like the good old days back in Little League when the catcher gets a little overactive and starts saying, "Come on, bring the mustard. Give me the fastball. Give me the mustard." Well, Mr. Glenn, sitting down in a zone, gets Drew Bledsoe's mustard. And that dog gets awful slippery because Glenn can't hold on. But that was a nice pass and execution by Bledsoe.
Mustard and relish in that case, as Tupa's punt, fair caught at the 10. A 38-yard punt. Once again, Pittsburgh will take over deep, leading 7-3.
Stewart has done so far, Tom, and so far with Kordell Stewart, you've seen an awful lot of in the pocket, out of the pocket, and a lot of blitz. Well, what do you really want to have happen? You'd rather have right now Kordell Stewart right there in the pocket, because he's made things bad happen for the New England defense when he's out of the pocket. And when he stays there, he's susceptible to the sack and to the blitz. But backed up like this, Tom, we're talking a lot of blitz out of this New England defense.
Backed up to the 10-yard line. They take over I formation. Bettis, the tailback. Lester, the fullback. Bettis angling to the 15-yard line. A 5-yard gain on first down. Mark Wheeler tackling the bus. As we go down to James Lofton, who's down on the field. What about the wind down there, James?
Now the wind won't tilt the bus over, but the wind is blowing from the Patriots sideline to the Steelers sideline. So when you throw a ball in the direction of the New England sideline, it's going to dance in the wind like a fastball with a little spit on it. Back up to you, Randy. Tom.
And that spit reacts a lot different than mustard. Mustard doesn't make it dance.
Might have been a spitball or two thrown here at Three Rivers Stadium. Bettis, did you see him put it in reverse? The bus went in reverse to get a little seam and then fell forward for a short gain.
Well, if that bus is going in reverse, Pete Carroll on the Patriots sideline is smiling. Because when this bus goes in reverse, you're talking about some serious gears grinding. Because that bus is designed to go one way, straight ahead. And you see the job done by Henry Thomas. There's no straight ahead to get. And then the safety, Lawyer Malloy, gets in there and makes the stop.
And the bus drives to the garage on 3rd and 2. From the Pittsburgh 18-yard line, 4 wide receivers on, 3 to the bottom of your screen. And now McAfee in motion. Kordell Stewart under pressure, finds Hawkins.
Wow. Good execution by Kordell Stewart. Good execution by the defense of New England, bringing the blitz and Steve Israel. And he just could not knock the ball down as Stewart got the ball out to the receiver. From the right side of the screen, Steve Israel is blitzing. Kordell Stewart throws it right through his hands to Courtney Hawkins. I mean, watch 21, Steve Israel, time it, jump, and actually Kordell throws right underneath him while he jumps.
Amazing. First down, Pittsburgh. They're at their own 23. They lead 7-3. Stewart pumps once and then goes down the field, a jump ball, and it's incomplete. Ty Law knocks it away from Yancey Thigpen. Well, join NBC, the NFL, and IBM online as we follow the playoffs right up to Super Bowl 32 in San Diego. Get online today and chat with other NFL fans about all of this weekend's games. Plus, shop for Super Bowl merchandise. All at superbowl.com, powered by IBM. 2nd and 10, 7:47 left, third quarter. Steelers leading 7-3. Here comes the blitz from Bruschi. Stewart tackled by McGinnis. Again, they contained him, didn't allow him to get outside, and as he runs straight up the field, there's plenty of help for the New England defense.
You know, there's kind of boring kind of defense, and there's good defense, and we're getting just gobs of good defense here. Because you got McGinnis maintaining his position on Strelzik, but that was all set up by the good game planning inside of the Bruschi blitz, which flushed out Kordell Stewart in the first place. So Pete Carroll on the sideline, Steve Sidwell is a coordinator upstairs. They've been blitz happy all day, and they're making the Steelers pay.
In these last few weeks, they have played outstanding attack defense. Nickel defense here for New England. 5 wides for Pittsburgh, and Stewart finds one of them. It'll be a Pittsburgh first down as the catch is made by Will Blackwell for 14 yards. Willie Clay finally caught up to it.
Now on that play, you said it, Tom, 5 wide receivers. First time today we've seen 5 wides like this come out. And what happens? Here's the receiver. You can't cover them all. You go into a zone, and your defensive back goes the wrong way into the zone. Instead of going in, he goes out, and that leaves that receiver wide open.
So I'm cut to the outside, leaving Blackwell wide open. Here comes the blitz again. Bettis. They force him to run laterally, and then they catch up with Ty Law getting him down.
And really, just like I mentioned a few plays ago, Tommy, he started out wanting to run ugly. And when he runs ugly, it's between the tackles. And if you can make him run cute, you're making him play your game. So ugly's closed. Cute's open, but cute doesn't work for a 260-pound fullback. I know he's a halfback, but when you're 260, I don't care where you line up, you're a fullback.
21 blitzes so far by the New England defense. They trail by 4. Stewart completes it to Bettis. And Jerome is stopped short of the 45-yard line by Ted Johnson.
Light my fire, Todd Collins. He got a guy like Jerome Bettis on a short dump and gets a little help from his friends, but watch the way the linebackers close on Jerome Bettis. What looks like a good little swing pass, get penetration from Sullivan. Do you close on him, and do you hit him when you do it? 52. Closes and finishes a guy that size. Nice play by Todd Collins.
Collins says it's a nightmare to see somebody like Dermontti Dawson coming at you first, and then you look up and 36 is bearing down on you. On third down, Stewart from the gun. Wide open is Hawkins again, and at midfield into New England territory with a first down. The rookie from Kansas State, Chris Canty, with help from Lawyer Malloy, finally getting him down. Another third down conversion.
Hey, and what Pete Carroll and his coaches are seeing right now is a very confident Kordell Stewart. Look at him in the pocket. He's bouncing, he's confident, he's zipping the ball, you're seeing the reason Kordell Stewart is statistically so much better a quarterback in the first half to the second half. One is his confidence, and two is his receivers like Hawkins knowing where in the zone to sit down so Stewart can give him the ball.
Blitz. Bettis breaks free. Jerome Bettis rips off about 7 yards. Todd Collins.
He's doing the monster mash after this run, but, you know, this is ugly football. This is Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line coming off, moving people, and letting 36 use his shoulders, his helmet, and that 200 and some odd pounds to drill on people, because the bus has not had too many flat tires this year. Yards per game, rushes a game, 10-plus yard rushes. Figure that for a guy that size.
Here's the 11th play of the drive, and it's a give to the bus. Stopped a yard short of the first down by Chris Sullivan and Chad Eaton.
Yeah, I mentioned the fact of Kordell Stewart, and gee, the second half belongs to him. One of the reasons is this guy right here. You know, his rushing yards per game at 154 right now, he's gotten himself all the way up to 111 yards. This is a case of Jerome Bettis in the process of making Kordell Stewart a very comfortable quarterback.
Had 10 100-yard rushing games in the regular season, now 32 in his career. Stopped short there. They had two tight ends. Third and short, and Henry Thomas was able to stack up the bus short of the first down.
Well, the crowd's not going to like the fact that Bill Cowher is going to punt here, but that's the right decision. You've just watched a defense just stuff one of the better offensive lines in the NFL on that third and really, really short, and your guys didn't even get close. In this situation, you punt the ball. You're playing field position anyway. You're about to stuff Bledsoe and the Patriots offense well into their territory.
So though the Steelers have passed the 100-yard mark in rushing, with Jerome Bettis getting 52 of those, they've not been able to spring Jerome for his normal 100-yard game. Meggett comes up to field this short punt, and they'll have it at about the 19-yard line. Only a 23-yard punt, and the New England defense once again does its job. We remain at 7-3. Bill Cowher and the Steelers leading 7-3, third quarter with 2 minutes left. Ben Coates on the sideline this time as the Patriots take over at their own 19-yard line. One of the hallmarks of the Patriot passing game this year has been spreading the ball around. Drew Bledsoe has hit 9 different receivers with a touchdown pass, but today some key players. Coates at the top of the list without a catch. Coates, Troy Brown, Sam Gash, Vincent Brisby don't have a catch between them. Cedric Shaw is the tailback. Gets the handoff and is smacked to the turf immediately. Penetration again by Nolan Harrison. He's been a one-man wrecking crew against the running game. In fact, on the season, the Pittsburgh defense was best in the NFL against the run.
Now, does that look familiar at all to you? Didn't you see this just a little while ago? Nolan Harrison meeting the quarterback and the running back at the exchange point. You can't do that leaving defensive linemen free. Nolan Harrison, they're trying not to block him because they're setting him free with pulling linemen. That is ridiculous.
5-yard loss. Bledsoe to Gash. First catch of the day for Sam Gash. Gets back the loss and maybe a yard more. It'll be 3rd and long. Chad Scott tripped him up.
And this is part of the offensive plan, I think, that New England has to resort to, is getting guys like Gash now involved, getting Shaw involved, trying to spread things into different spots because they don't have Martin. They now don't have Coates. And Glenn, they've got to get the ball down the field to Glenn, and he's got to catch it when they get it to him.
3rd and 9 in a close game like this. Field position, oh so important. They're at their own 20-yard line. Blitz shown by the Steelers, and here they come. Caught by Glenn. Glenn with one man left to beat. Cuts back, and they have the angle on him to take him down at the 40-yard line. Bledsoe again ripped the ball to Terry Glenn, who caught it for 40 yards. Chad Scott was finally able to chase him down.
Well, you know, Terry Glenn had a hard time with the lower ball with the mustard on it, but look at the velocity on the ball as it's delivered here to Terry Glenn. And now you see why this wide receiver out of Ohio State a couple years ago is so highly thought of after the catch. He's been bothered by that hamstring, but I can tell you from the way he's running so far today, there's not much wrong with that hamstring right now.
But Glenn remains down, apparently injured on the play, but it was a big one. New England trying to claw back.
Dodge Ram gives you the most powerful overall line of pickup engines on the planet, including 2 even more powerful V8s, the most powerful diesel, and the only V10. You'll be glad to know we also worked on this, making it easy to answer the oft-asked question, wow, what have you got under there? Dodge Ram. The rules have changed.
Oh, if only I could swim. I would swim over there. And I would go up and I would say, hello, I'm Louie. How are you? Nice to meet you. And then I would grab the heads and I would hold them under the water like this, like this. Yeah,
Louie, you are one sick lizard.
The Whopper has 39 grams of fat. To counteract the effects of a fat-filled lunch, choose the burger joint farthest from you and run there. Or go to Subway, where you can get a fresh sandwich under 6 grams of fat. Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
Enjoy it while you can, hot shots. Your days are numbered.
Louie,
I know a lot of predators.
lower your voice.
I'm very friendly with the snakes. And I know several very large ferrets.
The Whopper has 39 grams of fat. To counteract the effects of a fat-filled lunch, choose the burger joint farthest from you and run there. Or go to Subway, where you can get a fresh sandwich under 6 grams of fat. Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
Time flies, you know. Every week a game, and boom, playoffs. 2 teams play a game. 1 game you out. You wait till next year. So who do you think gonna get it this year? That wonderful trophy?
The network of the Super Bowl. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Back at Three Rivers Stadium, where the clock has just ticked down to end the 3rd quarter. Terry Glenn, injured on that last play, able to get up and walk off the field. James Lofton will have a report as soon as one is available. Into the 3rd quarter. Just a week from now, and Pittsburgh scored on its first possession of the game. New England came back with a field goal as Terry Glenn heads to the locker room after being injured previously. We'll get you a report when one's available. Shaw dodged a man in the backfield, made a nice cut up. And just inside the 35-yard line, they've found something, I think, in Cedric Shaw. Has done a pretty good job for them. The rookie who has had his first carry of his career today.
And again, Nolan Harrison, the defensive end, gets into the backfield, and Shaw does a great job of evading. But I mean, that's the problem right now for this New England offensive line. They're turning people loose on their running backs. You can't make them rely on athletic ability and think you're going to get by.
2nd and 4. Shaw again gets the call, and this time lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Tripped up in the backfield by Joel Steed. Shaw, oddly enough, one of the players that came to New England as compensation for Bill Parcells.
You see the rushing yards so far. It's really not that big a deal. You say, well, gee, so what? Well, there's still a quarter left in this game. 3 weeks ago, this is what they did for an entire game against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So it's just patience and persistence by Pete Carroll's offense, sticking with the run just enough.
And timeout taken by New England with the play clock advancing. First time out of the 2nd half. New England facing a crucial 3rd down when we return to Pittsburgh.
Bombeck's residence, isn't it?
Looking for Super Bowl tickets? Introducing Sprint's prepaid Super Bowl phone cards. 32 collectible cards, each an authentic replica. Free to new customers for joining and staying with Sprint.
Good trade, chumps.
Nice guys, huh? So who are we gonna call? How about a cab? What? Can't believe you traded my van. Yeah, but we got the card.
Some don't. Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by Sprint, the official telecommunications provider to the NFL.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, James Lofton, Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh. Fourth quarter, 13:52 left. 7-3, Pittsburgh leading. New England and the Pittsburgh 35 with a 3rd and 4. Bledsoe. Open Brisby. First catch of the day, and it's a New England first down.
Wow, what a job by Bledsoe. He's getting all kinds of looks up front. What combination is he going to get? He reads it perfectly. He's got himself a zone defense, and Brisby sits down just right underneath that zone for that catch. Look what he's looking at up front. He's saying, well, who's going to drop and who's going to come and who's really not serious? And great job up front of protection. And watch Brisby come out into the flat. There's a little wing back. Great positioning. Good play calling.
First down play. Shaw is the running back, and he gets the handoff here. He is to the 24-yard line, then thrown back by Levon Kirkland. With the offensive injuries for the Patriots continue to mount, let's check in with James Lofton.
Home run hitters, and now Terry Glenn, you saw him injure his left shoulder when he got sandwiched between the two Steeler defenders. When he came back to the sideline, the trainers and the doctors all came over. They were checking out the shoulder under the pads, and he really winced in pain. He has gone in to have that left shoulder x-rayed. Back up to you, Tom.
All right, James, and Ben Coates. It looked like a false start that time by Bruce Armstrong of the Patriots. Ben Coates' right knee is sprained, and his return is doubtful. So how long can they go on?
False start prior to the snap. Offense number 78. 5 yards, second down.
It was Bruce Armstrong. How long can they go on without their leading rusher, Curtis Martin, their leading receiver, Ben Coates, their leading deep threat, Terry Glenn? It is amazing, thanks to their defense, that they are here down 7-3, but in position to get some points right now.
Actually, that play against Pittsburgh galvanized this team. As negative as it was in that last game against this team, it brought emotions they didn't know they've had, and they're using them here.
Bledsoe's pass, is it caught? No, incomplete. He trapped it. It was Troy Brown, but they said incomplete. It was trapped.
And part of the emotion really is the fact that you've got a quarterback in Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, the numbers aren't sparkly. He's not afraid to try to make a play. And you see that ball, what the official saw was the tip of that ball go down onto the ground. You see Brown catch it. It looks like a catch, but from the backside, what the receiver sees is after the catch, or the official sees, is the ball hit the ground. That's why that's ruled not a catch.
3rd and 12. Bledsoe delivers, and it's incomplete. Intended for Jefferson. Bledsoe wants a flag as he rushes in and gets no call. Donnell Wolford, who had been demoted for the Steelers, defending on the play.
Well, you remember the play a little while ago where Kordell Stewart threw the ball behind his receiver and Thigpen came back for it? What Drew Bledsoe's complaining is that Wolford got his hand on his receiver as he was trying to come back for the ball. That's the point of protest by the quarterback from New England and his receiver.
So Vinatieri will attempt a 46-yard field goal. Here it is. It is up and just barely through the upright. Vinatieri connects from 46, and the Patriots have made it a one-point game.
Hey guys. Need a smile?
Call Domino's.
Yes!
A Domino's pizza does the trick. Thin crust, hand-tossed, or deep dish. Made with all your favorite toppings. But we deliver more than great pizza. At Domino's, we're delivering 1 million smiles a day.
The new Chevy Blazer with the driver control system. A little security in an insecure world.
Hey, kid.
Yeah?
Get the Super Bowl stuff to San Diego on time, and don't mess it up.
I'm on top of it.
I'm on top of the world, down on creation and the
Need official Super Bowl merchandise? Go to superbowl.com.
No.
An IBM e-business.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza, delivering 1 million smiles a day. Call for pizza now and share a smile during the game.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh, where the underdog Patriots have closed to within 1 of the Steelers, despite numerous offensive injuries today.
You know, a lot of people, including me, question this team's heart after that Tampa Bay loss earlier. And, Tom, that's the ingredient that's been in this team the last 6 weeks. This team has injuries, this coach has injuries, and this team has more heart than I think they even knew they had.
And maybe, as you said, discovered the depth of emotion in that loss to the Steelers. Here's the reverse on the kick. It's Coleman. Coleman surrounded and taken down, as New England was not fooled by the reverse on the kickoff. It was a 14-yard return. Well, hope you'll join us January 18th at noon Eastern Time as the NBA returns to NBC. Larry Bird, as coach of the Pacers, makes his return to take on Rick Pitino's Boston Celtics. And in Game 2, the Houston Rockets and Charles Barkley meeting Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls as an NBA doubleheader January 18th on NBC. Stewart under pressure on the late blitz, got the pass away, and it was nearly intercepted by Jimmy Hitchcock.
Well, it was a good execution by the Patriots defense. They blitz late onto Kordell Stewart, and they do it to his backside. Watch the blitz come in this way, and the backside late. See, coming off the slot, they're bringing Law from the corner. They bring the linebacker, and Hitchcock knocks it down. See, look at Law. Lester picks him up, and then Todd Collins comes in and gets a little shot on him. But Hitchcock could have caught that ball. Instead, he knocked it down.
Stewart plants his feet and throws no good. Incomplete. Intended for Charles Johnson. Again, a trapped ball defended by Ty Law.
Yeah, I want to get back to that last play, Tom, only because, you know, the missing ingredient in this football game has been the Kordell Stewart critical interception, critical turnover. He did it in the first game. It resulted in 14 points for the Patriots. In this game, it has not hurt Kordell Stewart or the Pittsburgh Steelers. That last pass before the last play there where Hitchcock knocked the ball down could have been that critical turnover, but Hitchcock knocked the ball down instead of trying to catch it.
But the Patriots have succeeded in taking the Steelers out of their normal game plan. That is, give the ball to Jerome Bettis. He has 52 yards rushing. Stewart hanging it down the sideline, and a flag on Ty Law defending Thigpen.
Yeah, Ty Law never turns his back, never looks for the ball, and runs right into Thigpen.
If he turns his head back, this is a legal play, right?
I mean, the problem here, watch Law the entire way, 24. Staring at Thigpen, staring at Thigpen, pushing Thigpen. Absolutely. You cannot impede the receiver. If you're looking back and you're trying to make an effort for the ball, yes. But he's got the arm wrapped around him. He crowds the receiver. That's a great call by the officials. That's interference.
25-yard penalty, and the Steelers have it First down at the 45 of New England. Stewart pumps once. Now he's flush from the pocket, plants his feet, and gets it to Lester. He's wrapped up after a short gain by Todd Collins. Second catch of the day for Tim Lester. And once again, let me return to the point that by taking Jerome Bettis out of the game, they have Pittsburgh passing on first down, and Bettis, who has had 10 100-yard rushing games during the regular season, held to 52 yards so far in this one.
And really what made Kordell Stewart on that last drive so good was that running game of the Steelers. Exactly what you're mentioning here, Tom, but it's not too late. It's not too late not to get greedy. Be consistent.
Here comes the blitz. Stewart rolling and has plenty of time. Throws back for Johnson, and he makes the catch. To the 18-yard line. Now they say no. It would have been for 24 yards. It's waved off as he was battling with Jimmy Hitchcock.
Well, we've seen the blitzes on Kordell Stewart. Now, Bill Cowher and his offensive coaches are moving Kordell out of the pocket to get him a little more of a clear view. Wants to make this throwback. Was it a catch or not? Watch the ball. Johnson, I'm sorry, that was a catch. Johnson's arms are underneath that ball. He does a fabulous job of adjusting back to it and around Hitchcock. He gets the arms underneath it. I think that's a catch. And the key is the fact that instead of the hands being around the ball, look at the arms. The arm is under the ball. The arm never lets the ball get to the turf. That was a catch.
And of course, it was on the big screen here. The fans react, and so does Bill Cowher. He said, "Did you see that? It was a catch."
There are two sides to every Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo. The side you show the world is up to you. Get 2.9% APR financing or up to $750 cash back on Monte Carlo during Chevy's year-end event.
Once people dreamed of owning that fabulous new invention called a TV. Then they dreamed of having a set that could actually show pictures in color. Now there's a dream for today's generation.
Introducing Flat TV from Philips. A 42-inch screen that's incredibly only 4 1/2 inches thick. And like the other dreams, someday it too will be in everyone's living room.
You're about to be sued by 26 people. Allstate defends over 50,000 people every year. Who's your insurance company? Being in good hands is the only place to be.
He said it would shut down.
There's a flaw in the system.
No one would listen.
Can't stop 15 million people from traveling today.
They should have.
Oh, God, no!
Millions of lives hang in the balance. Can one man keep them from crashing down?
You were warned!
Eric Stoltz.
We're their only hope.
Blackout Effect, NBC Sunday.
One more time, let's take a look at this, what I think is definitely a catch. Johnson gets the arm under the ball. The ball doesn't get to the ground. And you know what? I got a funny feeling Mark Brunner thinks so, because look at him go to the official and say, "Did you see that?"
After the timeout, 3rd and 7 for Pittsburgh. Stewart, complete to Thigpen. Twisted down by Law. He has a Steeler first down. 11-yard gain. Thigpen's 3rd catch of the game.
Remember what we said earlier, Tom, is the fact that Kordell Stewart says what I have to do is I have to recognize the blitz. I have to see what I've got. And if it's a good pass, I've got to take a shot out there. He's getting a big blitz inside. He sees man coverage to Thigpen. Nice fact that Kordell Stewart says what I have to do is I have to recognize the blitz. I have to see what I've got. And if it's a good pass, I've got to take a shot out there. He's getting a big blitz inside. He sees man coverage to Thigpen. Nice tackle by Law, but great execution by the Steeler quarterback.
Two tight ends, Bruner and Sadowski. Bettis, the lone setback. Sadowski on a wing and in motion. Stewart's pass deflected, incomplete.
And one thing to keep in mind here, Tom, too, with just a little bit more than 10 minutes left in this football game, we keep talking about field position. Do they get points here? I don't know if they get points, but they've moved the ball down into New England territory. And on this play, Chris Slade gets the tip and knocks the ball down. But Pittsburgh now is in a position where it can be more and more conservative. Slade knows he did a good job on that play, but he also knows Pittsburgh's got another shot or two in this possession.
2nd and 10 from the 32. Stewart with a fake. Can't get away. Willie McGinnis went one-on-one with Kordell Stewart and brought him down.
Exactly what Joe Gibbs talked about at halftime. One of his adjustments was make sure you maintain that contain. Watch McGinnis get up the field and not take that quick bite inside, which killed him in the first half. He maintains the contain, and watch where he doesn't go in. See the bite he doesn't take? He doesn't go in too far. That maintains the contain. That's a big, strong play out of Willie McGinnis from USC.
3rd sack of the day for the Patriots. Here's that 5-receiver formation now for the Steelers. Blitz comes. Stewart with a man in his face throws incomplete. Lawyer Malloy came free up the middle.
But Lawyer Malloy almost made a fatal mistake when you're blitzing at Kordell Stewart. When you're called for a blitz, flat out do it. Pete Carroll loves it, but when you get a blitz, go after that quarterback. Don't hesitate. And watch at the very end of the blitz, Malloy will come into the screen. Watch him hesitate right here. See that little wiggle and breakdown? He's afraid of Kordell Stewart running. And if somebody was open, that hesitation could have cost him an incompletion, but it didn't.
4th down, Megan awaits the punt. Again, they'll try to pooch it and down it, and they will do it beautifully. Caught on the fly by Chris Oldham inside the 5-yard line. 34-yard punt, but the New England Patriots backed up deep by Coward's special teams. And the terrible towels are out. 7-6 game, 9:23 4th quarter. New England with the ball at their own 4-yard line. Shaw, nowhere to go. Let's go down to James Lofton.
Well, Tom, before that last punt, I talked to Norm Johnson, the Steelers' place kicker, and he thought he could hit a field goal from maybe 55 yards out. But Bill Cowher and Jim Haslett probably agree with Randy Cross in that this is a game of field position. And Josh Miller pinned them inside the 5-yard line. So, Randy, maybe he should be the next head coach for an opening in the NFL. Back to you, Tom.
No, I'm not letting him go.
Here comes the crowd. Here comes the blitz.
Bledsoe hit as he let it go to Jefferson. Flag down.
Defensive holding, Tom, on Chad Scott, the rookie corner.
That would be an automatic first down if indeed it is a holding violation. Oh, it's against offsetting here.
And Pete's got that wow look on his face, too.
We have a personal foul, chop block on the offense, number 23. We have interference on the defense, number 30. Those penalties offset. Still 2nd down.
Cedric Shaw with the chop block and Chad Scott, number 30, with the interference call. The offset. Dan Rooney, the Steelers president.
And he's seeing his football team in a lot more of a battle, I think, than most of the football fans, that definitely in this city, but across America, thought you were going to see. A lot more fight out of these Patriots than the Steelers expected, I think.
Steelers rested and at home about a 7-point favorite. Bledsoe from his own end zone swings it to Byers. Keith Byers only to the 7-yard line. Hit by Earl Holmes.
Drew Bledsoe's extremely lucky he had somewhere to go with that pass, because he had an absolute jailbreak in his mug as soon as he turned around to deliver a pass. He had Nolan Harrison steaming at him, and luckily for him, he had Byers out in the flat.
So now it's 3rd down and 7 from the New England 7-yard line. Patriots with 4 wide receivers on the field, plus Keith Byers.
Play clock's going down pretty low.
Brisby got a last word from Bledsoe, who gets the play off. Stands in and throws downfield. It is knocked down. He hung it up. Troy Brown, perhaps the intended receiver, but Darren Perry, as the ball hung up there, was able to get over and knock it down. And now they'll have to punt from their own end zone.
Well, just insert term here. Bad, ill-advised. What are you thinking? Darren Perry's got an excellent chance at intercepting this pass. It just hangs up into that wind James Lawson talked about earlier.
Tupa will punt. And the return is on. They didn't put any pressure on Tupa. Blackwell, 45-yard line. Cuts upfield. Into Patriot territory to the 43. 12-yard return. Punt covered 48. Good field position for Pittsburgh. They lead by 1. Kraft has to be extremely proud of the courage shown by his team, playing without Curtis Martin, with Dave Meggett only able to return punts, with Glenn and Coates injured during the course of the game, and still trailing only by 1.
And against this offense and Kordell Stewart, Pete Carroll's asking this defense, somehow, some way, one more time, give me a big play.
Here's the bus. Got rid of one, and it might have been a face mask. There's a flag down. And Bettis is close to the 40-yard line.
Now that is strength. I mean, you can shrug off a face mask.
That is the call.
The question is it a 5-yarder or is it a big one for being intentional?
Personal foul, grasping the face mask on the defense, number 52. 15 yards, first down.
It's the grasping. It's not the incidental grab. See, Kordell Stewart give the ball to Bettis. He can't run ugly. He's trying to be cute. I tell you what, that was not much of a face mask there. He had a lot of helmet, a lot of shoulder pad, and a lot of head, but he didn't have much face mask.
I don't think it's enough to be the 15-yard call.
At least, or at most, it is a 5-yard penalty.
I agree.
And incidental contact on it.
I agree. Instead, though, it'll advance the ball all the way to the 25-yard line, or almost the 25.
It's been a field position football game, and a lot of the field position has been set up by penalties and by some questionable calls.
And they'll put the football down at the 24-yard line of New England. 7:26 left, fourth quarter. 7-6 Steelers. They have a first down at the Patriot 24-yard line.
Patriots defense liable to be desperate here. Can Stewart take advantage of something he might give him with a blitz?
The bus to the 20-yard line. McGinnis got a piece of him. Lawyer Malloy did too, and Todd Collins.
And one more time, you saw Jerome Bettis there get those good yards, but again on that face mask call, Bettis being forced outside. Now watch Ted Johnson. He's got shoulder, he's got helmet, he's got chin strap, he's got helmet, but he does not have face mask. And at worst case, it's a 5-yard. It definitely is not a 15.
Phantom call, but it enables the Steelers to get into scoring territory. Bettis, nothing doing. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Lawyer Malloy. Malloy with help from Ted Johnson. Lawyer Malloy's played a whale of a game, but you can say that about almost all of the Patriot defenders. Steeler ones too, for that matter.
And with this field position now working out, you know, it's Jerome Bettis now with 60 yards on 21 carries. And with this field position, you know, Pittsburgh very happy just to pound the ball in here. and set themselves up, because a field goal here by Norm Johnson puts Pete Carroll's football team, especially his offensive team, in a real hole looking at this Steeler defense. No reason to take any kind of stupid chance. If you want to take your shot, take it now.
Here's the 5 wide receiver formation, and a timeout called by Charles Johnson, who came rushing in as the play clock ticked down to 0. So that means Pittsburgh will have only 1 timeout left. And of course, great football this weekend. And tomorrow the action will shift to Arrowhead Stadium. What a scene that will be. One of the great venues in all of professional sports. It'll be alive with red as the Chiefs battle their old rivals, the Denver Broncos. It all starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time with the NFL on NBC. And then we'll shift to Dick Enberg, Phil Simms, and Paul McGuire for the call of the game. That first one was such a great game. It's been called by many as the game of the season, at least so far. They played twice.
Oh, and that opener, though, Terrell Davis did a great job against the Kansas City defense, but that's a different Kansas City defense. And in the second time, when they met, it was settled on this long Pete Stoyanovich 54-yarder into the wind, though, Tom. Totally different. We saw that defense a couple of weeks ago in San Diego. That defense can run.
That's tomorrow, all starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern with the NFL on NBC. Still to be decided here as Kordell Stewart. This is a designed run all the way, and he is down to the 8-yard line. 12-yard scamper by Kordell Stewart.
This might sound like an oxymoron, but this is unexpected conservative football. It's conservative because you got your best running back today in Kordell Stewart running with it, and it's unexpected because the Patriots were definitely in the defense that play, and before, when they called the timeout, they were in a defense designed for the pass. And look at Bill Cowher on the field. I mean, he is on the football field pumping up his football team.
This team reflects his personality so much. Steelers now have rushed for 131 yards. Bettis collapsed. Might have lost a yard. Ted Johnson did the damage. Todd Collins there too.
Tell you, Tom, ugly is not open. Because when they go in to run ugly inside, Ted Johnson and this defense is ugly back at you. They're not letting this big guy, Jerome Bettis out of Notre Dame, do anything inside. It's a credit to the inside linemen and the job they're doing, because this is a great offensive line for Pittsburgh with guys like Dawson, Wolford, Stye. But up front, you got Thomas playing great. You've got Eaton playing great, and the linebackers are scraping into Bettis' face.
Less than 4.5 minutes. Stewart fakes to Bettis, still has it, rolling to his right. He's going to run, and he will be strung out and whipped down out of bounds by Chris Slade.
I really think one of the critical things that this offense has done for Pittsburgh is get Kordell back involved with the running game and get him out from behind the offensive line. Get him out, let him be active. Let him be Kordell Stewart. Yes, he throws the ball well. Yes, he's reading defense well. But that is the weapon that defenses lose sleep over, and that's the weapon that's making the difference in this ball game.
Closing in on their average or rushes on a season, but not as productive as usual. Here's a crucial 3rd and 7. Bettis stopped short of the goal line.
Well, when the Steeler offense needed it, when Bill Cowher needed it inside, Brendan Stye, Dermontti Dawson, and Will Wolford just opened ugly.
And now 4th down inside the 1. 4th and goal inside the 1. Do you kick a field goal? Do you go for it?
Right here, I kick a field goal, get Norm Johnson on the field and kick it.
We'll think about it. Bill Cowher calls for his final timeout. 4th and goal, the ball inside the 1-yard line, and the clock showing 3:29 left in this divisional playoff game.
And remember the weapon that Bill Cowher has got coming over right now to talk to him in Kordell Stewart. Everyone in the house is thinking Jerome Bettis in these kind of yards. But if you're on defense and you're the outside people, you better have contained, because that naked boot could kill you. But the play that set it up, Tom, is this Jerome Bettis, ugly in the middle, Ugly was closed. Well, on this delayed draw, Ugly was open, getting great blocks up front from Dermontti Dawson. Brendan Stye. The big guy tries to reach in, but he doesn't quite get there.
That was a 3rd and goal play from the 7. Stopped just short of the goal line, and now 4th down and goal inside the 1-yard line. Bettis has been held in relative check.
Bill Cowher's decision, I think, is going to be he's going to go for it. And probably the biggest decision, or part of that decision, is how well his defense is played. If they don't make it, New England cannot, in his mind, get out with the ball. He's got a great offensive line. He's got an athletic quarterback. And he's got a 250-pound running back there. He's going to give it a shot.
And here's where Kordell Stewart becomes so valuable at quarterback. 4th down, goal to go, less than a yard. Stewart thrown back. No touchdown. They stopped him. Teddy Bruschi and Todd Collins.
Last time these two teams played, Tom, they tried 2 quarterback sneaks at the goal line with Kordell Stewart. Pete Carroll's defense threw back the first one because instead of diving forward, Kordell Stewart dove up. Where does he go? He goes up, tries to get forward, but Todd Collins, Teddy Bruschi, and Ted Johnson meet him on top. Collins, Bruschi, Johnson, great defensive play, good heart, good motion. You talked about Pittsburgh reflecting their coach, Bill Cowher. This defense is Pete Carroll for the New England Patriots.
But now they are backed up. They have the ball inside their own 1-yard line. Can they punch it out? They're going to try to throw it out. Bledsoe completes the pass to Brown to the 7-yard line. That gives them a little breathing room.
Tom, they have no choice with the way they've been running the ball or not running the ball. They can't try to punch a ball out that's that close to the goal line. That's a great call by Pete Carroll's offensive coaches upstairs, Larry Kennan and company. Now you don't want to get greedy. Remember we talked about the game being on Drew Bledsoe. He was challenged by Pete Carroll. 2:55, here you go.
He has the 1st down as he throws it complete to the 20. Catch made by Sean Jefferson. 12-yard gain. 6th catch of the day for Jefferson, who, remember, played for the Chargers when they beat the Steelers here at Three Rivers to advance to the Super Bowl a few years ago. 2.5 minutes left. Terry Glenn, their chief deep threat, out of the game. Ben Coates, their top receiver, out of the game. Curtis Martin, top rusher, out of the game. Bledsoe hit as he let it go, and it's caught by Brisby. He'll be thrown out of bounds about a yard short of the 1st down by Myron Bell.
What a great job by Keith Byers on that last play. Keith Byers picks up the blitz, so Bob Kraft there, the owner of the Patriots, quarterback, and get rid of this pass. Watch Byers right here underneath Bledsoe just get to Jason Gilden in time to enable his quarterback to get that off. That's a veteran blitz pickup.
Ball's at the 28. 2nd and 1, New England. They trail by a point. 2:19 on the clock. Bledsoe, plenty of time. Then it breaks down, and the ball incomplete. Off the hands of Purnell, his backup tight end. Probably just as well. Stop the clock. It would have been a very short game.
No, time to get that ball to Purnell because he has no Ben Coates. Purnell in this year, 5 catches for 57 yards and 3 touchdowns. But, you know, that's when you know you're getting down to your last quarter resort, is when you go to your backup tight end when you're getting blitzed like that and you're Drew Bledsoe.
And Rooney, like Bob Kraft, watching tensely as the final 2 minutes plus unfold in this divisional playoff game. A 1-point affair. 3rd and 1. Bledsoe's pass caught at the 30-yard line. We'll see, it'll be very close to the 1st down. Cullors made the catch, hit immediately by Earl Holmes. It'll be spotted very close.
It's a right foot spot by the near official, just exactly where the ball came down. Well, this is going to be real close. I think this is going to be just a little bit short, though. The far side, it is right at the 29-yard line. In fact, right past about the halfway point of the 29-yard line.
Can't really get a good view of it there, but it is a first down. There's the better view. Half the length of the football. First down, New England. They do have 2 timeouts remaining. Clock shows 2:01.
This is a time of a football game that belonged to the guys that take the snaps. Linemen can talk about whatever they want to, so can receivers and defenders and whatnot. The end of a football game, 2 minutes to go in a playoff game, belong to the quarterbacks. Drew Bledsoe's been challenged by Pete Carroll. He's been challenged by this defense all day. What will be his answer?
2 minutes left.
Hey, mister.
Hey, buddy. Sir? Mister, hey, buddy. Yo, hey, buddy. We just ran this Visa card through, and they said you're over your limit.
What?
Oh, nah. Hey,
You don't understand. I was so close.
Sir! Sir!
I'm not gonna let go.
Please!
Whoa.
It's my first day!
Visa puts limits on its customers.
It's not fair.
For Pete's sake!
But with American Express, you can always do more.
She's not real!
Tuesday, it's an all-new Frasier with a trip back to yesteryear and a young Frasier and Niles.
Specifically requested my macaroni and cheese al dente. This lunch is a culinary Hindenburg.
Then on Just Shoot Me, Jack teaches the art of getting the upper hand.
Can you teach me more? Can you help me down?
All new NBC Tuesday.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Here's our Miller Time game summary. Kordell Stewart to almost equal numbers first and second half. Bledsoe 215 yards through the air. And the unexpected, only 1 TD and 15 punts combined in this game. In fact, in the first playoff game ever held at Three Rivers Stadium, December 23rd, 1972, the Raiders led the Steelers 7-6 in the final minute when Terry Bradshaw completed the immaculate reception to Franco Harris. 7-6 Steelers leading Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots. First down at the New England 29-yard line. Bledsoe to Jefferson. Edges out of bounds after an 8-yard gain. Carnell Lake was defending on the play, and as amazing as it is, we talked to Pete Carroll yesterday, and he was surprisingly confident. Like their chances, was joking about loving the underdog role and saying, but I don't have to sell that to you guys, you know. And he was playing without Curtis Martin. He's playing with Dave Meggett, only able to return punts. Terry Glenn knocked out of the game. Ben Coates out of the game. Bob Kraft has to be proud of the courage of this New England team. Jefferson with another catch. He has a first down. Working the sideline, out of bounds at the 42. Sean Jefferson has a big game today. Chad Scott knocks him out of bounds. He has 8 catches, 89 yards.
Hey, Tom, you know, we've talked a lot about the heart of the defense, the heart of the Patriots. The heart of this Pittsburgh Steelers team is this Pittsburgh defense. And right now, this Pittsburgh defense is being challenged like the Patriots defense has been in the last 3 or 4 possessions by the Steelers. And they're facing a quarterback in Drew Bledsoe right here that's trying to make himself a little bit of a part of history. He's trying to make a point that he belongs with the best.
He's under trouble now, and he throws. It's a fumble. It's a fumble, and the Steelers have it. The Steelers have it.
And the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers team, the defense, comes up when they need him. Jason Gilden, number 92, working on one side.
Mike Vrabel right there knocks it loose.
Vrabel knocks it loose. Gilden gets it. Persistence, Penetration. Definitely the arm was not going forward. Definitely a fumble. And absolutely a pressure. Great play and an answer from this Pittsburgh defense.
The Steelers rising to the occasion with their defense. And the clock down to 1:44. New England has 2 timeouts left.
And right here, you're going to get plenty o' bus.
Jerome Bettis again forced laterally and taken for a loss and an immediate timeout. Lawyer Malloy trapped him for the loss and then signals the timeout, stopping the clock at 1:38. What about Jason Gilden's performance for that tough Pittsburgh defense today? 2 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries for Jason Gilden. Gilden, the 4-year veteran from Oklahoma State, has had a tremendous game for the Steeler defense.
Remember, this is the linebacker that came in and basically replaced Kevin Green, who had led the NFL in sacks and was such an impact player. Been praised by his ability to stop the run, his ability to in pass coverage, stay with running backs and tight ends. But the biggest difference is he did what those linebackers at Pittsburgh have always done under Bill Cowher. They've made the big plays when the big play had to be made.
2 worthy adversaries today. And the survivor moves on to the AFC Championship game.
And what a great illustration, too, Tom, of what I talked about. Go for it on 4th down because you have faith in your defense. And why does he have faith? Because he knows somewhere in the defensive plan there's the ability to make those kind of plays.
Bettis. A little better game, but stopped by Collins, Johnson, and McGinnis. And the Patriots used their final timeout. Jason Gilden made the fumble recovery and now cannot bear to watch. A little prayer, silent prayer on the sideline. That's how tense this game has been. Patriots spend their final timeout with 1:31 remaining. It'll be 3rd and 8 coming up for Pittsburgh, and we invite you to stay tuned following the game for the Sun America post-game report. Greg Gumbel, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth. James Lofton will have some interviews from the field with key players in this game. They also have an analysis and a preview of tomorrow's Denver-Kansas City game. That's all coming up following this one from Three Rivers Stadium. This one has been up to the billing of playoff caliber football.
Exactly. You know, if you're on the New England sideline, you've got absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. You've played a wonderful game. You fought a very heavily favored football team tooth and nail and just smacked them for every smack they've given you.
Now they face a stop here, much needed, no timeouts. It's 3rd and 8 and Stewart has it on the bootleg. Kordell Stewart dancing around, taken to the turf at the 30-yard line. Todd Collins played him well. Boy, those linebackers, Collins, Johnson, and Slade, Willie McGinnis, Lawyer Malloy, what games they have put up here.
And also, if you're Bill Cowher's Pittsburgh Steelers in this after this game, you want an opportunity to fire test your football team in 1997 season, here in 1998 in the playoffs. Bill Cowher's team, after a game like this with last year's AFC champions, I think you can call them right now officially fire tested.
And if they hold on to win, do you think they'll be introducing the defense next week?
And if they did, the way this defense played, they'll introduce them next week. They introduced them this week. If this defense keeps playing this good, they can introduce them in 3 weeks.
They introduced them to start this game, and it was a fortuitous decision.
The kind of defense we've seen out of both of these teams here today in this AFC Divisional playoff game, both from Bill Cowher's defense and from Pete Carroll's defense, is a style of defense the AFC needs in a Super Bowl. These kind of defensive efforts is what make differences in that kind of a game. It's made the difference in this one, and against a quality NFC team, a Pittsburgh defense playing like this, whether it's Pittsburgh or Kansas City or whoever, has got a great shot at the NFC team with this kind of defense.
Looks like New England will get one final shot, though. The Steelers take a delay of game penalty to give Josh Miller a little more time to operate, a little more room to operate, and try to down it deep.
He's done a great job so far of pooching this thing down inside. Remember, Oldham caught the last one on the fly.
Patriots came after him, but good protection, and the ball will be downed again inside the 5-yard line. Amazing. Beautiful Beautifully done by the Steelers special teams one more time.
Anytime you're involved in a field position football game, one way or the other, your special teams are either going to kill you or they're going to set you up. And late in this game when they needed it, the difference has been the punching and the pooching of Miller and the coverage of his punt team.
And Randy Fuller, who suffered a concussion earlier in the game, we were told, is the man that batted that one back and prevented the touchback.
And what a nice job. You know, these are things you work on in training camp. You don't work on these every day. Keeping those feet in the field of play and batting it back. Just excellent attention to detail by Cowher's special teams.
Patriots need about 60 yards to attempt a field goal. Bledsoe from his own end zone. Pass is incomplete, intended for Jefferson. Clock shows 29 seconds left. No timeouts.
At this point, you've got to think the Steelers just look at this as an ultimate prevent type situation.
Right.
Just do not let anybody get back behind you. You've had a great job today done by Kordell Lake and these defensive backs. And, you know, we talked about Lake being such a factor. Leads the team in blitzes. Not once was he blitzed from the outside. All coverage. Great strategy by the Pittsburgh defensive coaches.
Two safeties about 20 yards deep. Bledsoe turns down the sideline for Jefferson. Racing under it and incomplete. I thought the official on the sideline started to reach for his penalty flag.
There was contact at the very end of this football play. You see Wolford working against Jefferson as he heads down the field. Look at Bell, 40, looking back, trying to catch the ball. And the key term being looking back, trying to get the ball as he saw the official going to that belt, going to that flag.
But no call, and it's now third down. 22 seconds. Bledsoe's pass is complete. Brisby jumps out of bounds, stops the clock with 16 seconds left. That's an 18-yard gain. Need to get to about the 35-yard line to give Vinatieri a shot at a field goal. His longest is 52.
Yeah, well, you're probably looking in this situation with the wind, Tom. You got to gain another 45 to 50 yards. Remember, we showed that Stojanovic hitting a 54-yarder into the wind for Kansas City against Denver, and which he described as the game of the year. That means 35 yards needed to gain.
Bledsoe throws it downfield again. Jefferson involved in a pushing match with Wolford. And there is no flag, and Jefferson could have been called that time.
Absolutely. That was pass interference offensively. As he turned back, he just put Wolford down on the ground. That's you know what you're hoping for as an offense in this situation is to put the ball up, and yes, you'd love your receiver to catch it, but you want contact, and you want the defender to initiate the contact. That's offensive pass interference. Look at him, back up, back up. Deeper than the deepest is the defensive term.
And this is where they could have used Terry Glenn, of course, who is their deep threat.
You can't be far enough back for Bill Cowher right now.
Play stopped.
Delay on the offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
Remember, 8 seconds left in this football game, Tom. I mean, as improbable as it sounds, one long play, one long pass and out of bounds.
What did we say?
One long pass interference.
Remember the first playoff game ever at Three Rivers, 7-6, the Raiders on top of the Steelers when Bradshaw and Franco Harris hook up in the immaculate reception.
Well, if you had something that miraculous here, I'm sure it would not be remembered quite as warmly by the Steeler fans.
I don't think so. Jefferson laterals out of bounds, stops the clock with 1 second left. Purnell took the lateral from Jefferson. They have 1 tick left, and the ball will be spotted at about their own 35-yard line.
Bill Cowher's not telling his team to go to the locker room. He's telling his defense to back up because he knows now they're not defending a field goal. Now you're defending about 65 yards of a football field trying to prevent a touchdown.
Back way back up now. This will be, barring a penalty on the defense, the final play of the game.
Remember Harbaugh here in Pittsburgh a couple years ago almost pulled one of these off.
Almost. Bledsoe throws it as far as he can. Jump ball, intercepted. Intercepted by Kirkland, and the game will be over. Fitting that a defender makes the final play of the game, because it was defense that told the story in this one. The Patriots now with 2 devastating losses to the Steelers within the period of 3 weeks. And if Denver beats the Chiefs, this stadium will host its 7th AFC Championship game next week. Either way, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be there.
That last loss to Pittsburgh, the Patriots legitimately blew that game with a lead, 8-point lead. This game, the Steelers were just the last team standing. This is physical, hard-nosed football, the kind I love.
And Pete Carroll, operating in the shadow of Bill Parcells, has proved, I think, with this late season effort that he belongs among the NFL coaches. Let's go to James Lofton.
Jason Gilden, who had a sack, a fumble recovery, you ran Terry Glenn downfield, and then when the final snaps are going, you're telling the secondary to back up.
Well, coming in, we knew it was going to be a tough game. You know, we played these guys before, and they were going to come out and play today, so we had to go out and give it all we had. It came down to the wire.
How nervous were you when you saw that it was only 7-6 at the end of the ball game?
It was pretty nervous. It kind of brought back the Indianapolis game we had here one year where they threw the Hail Mary down there. We came up with a big play, but, you know, it was a good game, and I think both sides played real well.
Did you think at any time that they might rule that Bledsoe had tried to throw the ball and that it wasn't a fumble?
Well, coming around, I kind of saw him coming around, and Mike made a good play on the ball, and I was just there to fall on it. And I looked up, and the ref said it was clean, so I was happy with that.
Now, you go home, you'll rest up tonight, and you'll watch Kansas City and Denver. I know you won't be rooting for either team. Kansas City beat you earlier. You guys beat Denver. Any choice of who you'd like to play?
Not really, because, you know, this is playoffs. Anything can happen. You know, both those teams are real good, so we're just going to have to go back and wait and see what happens.
Well, thanks a lot, Jason. Let's roll the bus in here right now. Only though, did they?
No, they really didn't. And they kept those linebackers up at the line of scrimmage and the safety at the line of scrimmage. We knew they were going to do that. We knew it was going to be a rough time to run the football.
Are you disappointed in your numbers, or is it just, you know, good to get the win?
It's great to get the win. The numbers doesn't mean anything. This is postseason, and as long as we can advance, that's what counts.
Thanks. Back up to you guys.
All right, James, thank you very much. Tough loss to take for the New England Patriots, but as we said several times, they certainly did themselves proud with their effort undermanned today.